Hey everyone, how are y'all? Obsessed for Disneyland, how are you? Hey Marissa, musical, how are you? Hey Crime Crazy, hey Tea Berries. Mar, are you feeling any better? Hey White Widow Baby, hey Sharon, Banker Guy, how are you? Linda G, how are you? Hey JB, the Post Office Prince, how are you? Hey Blues Hockey Fan, hey Tracy, Ashley B, how are you? Hey Collins Avenue, hey Sandra, Brad, how are you? Hey Scott, Michelle, how are you? Leanne, how are you tonight? Hey Big Al, how are you? What is this? I looked out the window and there was a giant pickle in the sky. I knew it could only be one thing. Pink Butterfly, how are you? Hey, Bryan R. On the headache. Bryan R, I hope you get to feeling better soon. Okay. All right, y'all. I got the email pinned to the top of the chat. All right, I'm getting my chat pulled up on my phone if it would work all right. Hey, Carrie, how are you? Okay. All right, y'all. I'm grabbing my stuff to start with tonight. All right. Well, apparently, y'all, the authorities in Pennsylvania are going back and looking over cold cases that they have or unsolved cases that they have in the areas where Bryan, there's like two different counties where Bryan went to college at. And they're trying to find out if he's linked to any of these unsolved cases. All right. And let me check one thing in chat real quick. Uh, hey, Simple Butterfly. I was trying to see. Okay. One second, y'all. I'm just yes, just everything. Okay, I just wanted to check and see if Mar had answered me back on how she was doing. Hey Vapor, how are you? LJ, how are you tonight? Oh my gosh, my stuff is not set right on my screen. So glad to hear that they are checking into that. Yes, LJ, I agree. Because I mean, this guy is just like, we don't know what all he had going on, out in Pennsylvania when he was out there. So I wonder if, maybe he's done this before. And there could be some things that he's connected to out there. Okay, if it wasn't so high profile, he probably wouldn't have gotten caught on his first kill. That's something I did. I'm okay. Just things every day. I'll email you. I'm here for the show. Okay, Mar. Yeah, just email me and let me know uh, how you're doing and everything. Marissa, I just don't. I don't think it is either. Because if y'all remember how some of his classmates were saying back, when he was younger, how all of a sudden he like just kind of like flipped a switch and started acting different. And then I was thinking, like, back then they said he started acting worse. He kind of went from being bullied to being the bully. Um, and if you remember this time, like whenever after the murders happened, uh, the students at WSU were talking about how he kind of started acting different. So I wonder if something happened back in the day when he was younger and it caused him to change, other than the drugs and the weight loss, because it seems like right around that time is when he kind of started acting worse than what he was. So I wonder if that, something happened during that time. He had a rapid, yes, like I saw one picture of him that he was like super skinny, and really it didn't look like him. Like he was just really, really scrawny. So I was thinking about that last night. Maybe something happened back then and it caused him, you know, his attitude to change and how he acted towards people, because they were saying that, after the murders he kind of changed. The Lawnmower Man, how are you? All right, and mind y'all, let me know if I need to slow the chat down. Okay, Oregon and Washington is where they should be checking. Yes, I agree. Supposedly they have, but I think they just don't want the public to know that there still may be an SK out there, 42 FBI agents assigned to one person. I agree, Brett. I think that they need to check those cases, the one in Oregon and the one in Washington. Hey, Valerie, how are you? Um, it's just there's too many similarities, honestly. I mean, and we really don't know if Bryan wasn't out there during those 2 years. I know he wasn't living out there because he was at DeSales University and graduated in 2022, but that doesn't mean that he didn't make trips out there. Tea Berries, how are you tonight? Okay, I think this will be the bombshell we have been waiting for. Honestly, I think we need a bunch of bombshells to go off, honestly. Hey, Stonegator, how are you? I'm still, like, I had a bunch of notes wrote down regarding Dylan, and, well, not so much Dylan, but Bethany mostly for last night. I didn't get a chance to go over them, so hopefully I'll get to go over those tonight too. I do have a video that I'm going to show y'all regarding the Pennsylvania stuff that's going on. There's supposed to be another video coming out. It was like 9 o'clock Seattle time, so it'll be like 11 o'clock my time, so a little after 11. So I'm going to be watching for that video to come out so I can show y'all as well. Hey, Petey, how are you? Annie C, how are you? Okay, I think they will all go off at once or one right after the other. Yeah, I one bombshell that needs to go off is the motive. Like, they don't have to tell us, but the families at least need to know what the motive was. Like, why did he do this? Hey, Laura, how are you? The other bombshell that needs to go off is why the hell did Dylan and or Bethany wait 7.5 hours to call 911? What I don't understand with Dylan is, in that article that I went over yesterday, Ethan's sister-in-law is claiming that she called all the girls in the house, but she didn't get an answer. Well, if she was so frozen in fear and she was able to call all the girls, why didn't she call 911? Hey, Susie, how are you? So happy to be here, Susie. We're happy to have you here with us. A newbie. I'm a Southern girl living in NorCal. And this channel is the best. Makes me miss the good things about the South. Well, Susie, thank you. We're happy to have you here with us. And Laura, yes, ma'am, I am doing good. I actually got sleep last night. A little bit more than what I usually do. And it's been warm here today. That's put me in a better mood. Hey, Dreamcatcher. I'll never understand why she didn't call 911. I don't understand it either. I don't get it. Like, you call the girls, there's no answer. You hear all this stuff. You see this creepy dude in your house. You claim that you're frozen in fear when you see him in the house, even though you don't necessarily know for 100% fact the murders had happened, unless she walked in on it and seen it. Um, but you don't call 911. I don't get it. Emery, how are you? Be weather aware again, so it may be rocking. Yes, Laura, as opposed to tomorrow. Hey, Gregory, how are you? So, yeah, weather's supposed to do bad here tomorrow. So, hopefully, it doesn't do too bad. Okay, I don't think Dylan was truly the girl's friend. I wonder sometimes more because, like I said, if I'm living with roommates, whether we grew up together or we're just roommates because we're in college, and I think of you as a friend and I hear you crying from your bedroom, and I know that there's a male in there with you, whether it's your boyfriend and you're truly in love with them or whatever, if I hear you crying, I'm going to go check on you. Okay, and if Bethany didn't hear anything at all, she shouldn't be scared to go check things out once the sun came up at least. Yeah. And if y'all haven't done so yet, please hit the thumbs up if y'all don't mind. So there's a lot of bombshells still left to go off, and hopefully they'll start going off soon. Because there's a lot of things, just by what the PCA has said and by what police said at the beginning, things are still not adding up. Like there's a certain timeline that I still don't get, and it doesn't make sense. DM should have heard Xana screaming from her. Lawnmower Man, I said the same thing. One, Xana is young and she's watching her boyfriend get killed. I don't think she's going to sit there and just watch it happen and not make a noise. Two, just barely cut your finger. You know how bad that hurts. Imagine a knife like they're saying that was used, and that she grabbed the knife. He pulls the knife out of her hand. That's painful. She's not just going to let you pull a knife out of her hand and she's not going to scream. It's just, I don't believe it. So hopefully when everything comes out in court, maybe they will come out and say that, you know, what Ethan's sister-in-law was saying was the truth, that she heard screaming that night. Hey, Nola, how are you? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play this video. And like I said, if y'all haven't done so, while I'm getting the video ready, getting it pulled up and ready for y'all, can y'all go and hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so. See, is it possible she actually left the house and that is her testimony to Ellie is so awful she didn't come back till later? I don't know. I mean, they could find out if she left if she took her cell phone with her. But did she leave and leave Bethany in the house? If Bethany was home that night, because I'm starting to wonder if she was even home that night. A whimper with a paper cut. Exactly. Just a little tiny paper cut. Think of how bad that hurts. And then you have a big knife that you're trying to, that some is in someone else's hands, that is attacking you, and you grab it. And, you know, with what they're saying, with how bad her fingers were, I just don't see that there was no screaming. Okay, he should just plead guilty. The post office prints, yeah. If he really did do it, yes, he should just plead guilty. Be a man about it, but he's too egotistical for that. His thing is that he thinks that he is so smart that he has got everything planned out perfectly, and then he's going to get away with this. Hey, Anthony, how are you? Penny, how are you tonight? Exit Screaming, how are you? Let's see. Don't think DM was involved at all, so there's probably an explanation for her behavior, even if it doesn't make sense to most people. I'm just curious why she waited so long. That's like the main thing. Why did you wait so long to call police? I get if she saw the suit in her house and he threatened her, or she saw the knife in his hand. I completely get that. It scared her. But then it said that she called all the girls in the house and no one answered the phone. Well, she could call the girls. Why couldn't she call 911? Let's see. Xana had wounds that was obviously hurt, but when you're fighting for your life, an adrenaline dump your body puts out would counteract the pain until she finally succumbed to the injuries. Yeah, but she would still be screaming, though. Like, I get what you're saying, too, with the whole adrenaline thing. And, a lot of people, they don't realize that they're hurt no matter how bad the injury is because of the adrenaline, but it just seems like there would be screaming, though, especially when you're fighting for your life. All right, y'all. Hold on just 1 second. I was sitting here talking, letting a video play, and it then jumped to it. It then played and then jumped to a different video. Hey, King Scarlet, how are you? Okay, what is strange is she did not mention the knife at all, just black clothing, but she may have mentioned the knife. They just didn't put it in the PCA. So even though we really don't want to have to wait until June, we're going to have to wait till June before everything comes out. Unless for whatever reason this gag order goes away and then people can start talking. Okay, could have stuck it in his pocket. Yeah, I mean, could have stuck it in his pocket. If he had a hoodie on, he could have stuck it in the front part of the pocket, like on the front of his hoodie. Coveralls, I know some, like we were showing that they sell at Walmart, the Dickies brand coveralls. I know some coveralls like that. They have, like, their side pockets are pretty deep. He could have stuck it in like a side pocket, and she didn't see it. Anything like that's possible. Then again, she could have seen it, and they just didn't put that in there. So you don't think it's possible that everything she said? No, Jerry. No, I don't think they put everything in there. They put just enough, and I think they put what she's seen, or what she's claiming that she's seen, as far as the guy walking towards her and the bushy eyebrows and all this and that. And then they threw the footprint in there to verify what direction he was walking, to kind of like make it corroborate with her story. But yeah, everything else they left out. They just put enough in there to get that arrest warrant. Who is Enon? Musical Enon is the creepy neighbor that lives next door. He lives in those apartment buildings next door. He's the one that said that he wandered into his neighbor's house party and he remembers talking to Ethan, Kaylee, and Xana while he was there. He never mentions Maddie. He did follow Maddie on social media, though, but he doesn't mention seeing her that night or talking to her. He's also the one that went on several different panels. He talked to different news channels. I forgot where he posted that. Was that TikTok or was that Facebook that he posted that he was famous now and all this and that, and then decided he was going to take a trip out to San Francisco and do a bunch of videos out there, and made a post about there being a white Hyundai Elantra and saying that the murderer was following him and all this and that. Like, he's just super weird. He could be the plug from past criminal background, Brett. That is true. He does have a past with that. Okay, let me catch up one more time right quick. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this video up. And like I said, this is the authorities in Pennsylvania search unsolved cases for links to the Idaho murder suspect. Does anybody remember what town in Washington that creepy neighbor worked at? He was wasn't a chef. He was it a short order cook? Yeah, Annie. I remember seeing that too, and then he was doing a lot of stuff on TikTok, and I remember him saying that for whatever reason he got kicked off of TikTok. And I know he was supposed to do like a YouTube channel, and I think it was supposed to be about cooking or something like that. Okay, so Marissa, it was in Pullman where he was working? Oh, wow. No, Lawnmower Man. He actually worked in Washington. Hey, Mom Bear, how are you? Okay, so he was a vegan. He worked in Pullman. Bryan was a vegan, lived in Pullman. I mean, it's a good possibility that they probably knew each other. Um, Bryan might have ate where he worked at. Loaded Hot, he did. They were fire sticks. He said that it was his hobby and that he liked to go outside late at night and practice his hobby of the fire sticks. Sudie, how are you? Both creepy looking, yes. Hey, Philly Maniac, how are you? Vaughn, how are you? Yeah, it would be I guess it would be considered a stick juggler. I don't know. I watched some of his videos on TikTok. I remember seeing one. It was during the time he was in San Francisco, and he would be like on the sidewalk with his fire sticks, and he was, I guess, performing for people out there, and his hair ended up catching on fire for like a half a second. Sudie, yes, he was the next door neighbor to the girls. All right, so let me get this pulled up. One second. And Sudie, you're very welcome. But yeah, he's a very creepy dude. Don't play with fire. I mean, yeah, he literally his hair caught on fire and he just kept going with it. Like it didn't even bother him that his hair caught on fire. Enon would have been the perfect lookout for Bryan. Lawnmower Man, yes, because he did say that night that whenever he came home from work, he got home around 1:30 in the morning. Uh, he said that it was eerily quiet around the kid's house. And then the next morning, the typical 15 to 20 people wasn't in the backyard around the fire pit. So that was a dead giveaway that he's been watching this house and who goes there and who doesn't and all that. Let's see. Hey everyone, my opinion, Enon Harsh is involved. He also has the bushy eyebrows, draws a white hybrid that looks exactly like Bryan's. A launcher, he's also a chef and has skills in knife collection. I mean, he possibly could. I mean, we would have to try to find a connection between the creepy neighbor and Bryan, for sure. Patty says she was picturing him juggling Amazon fire sticks. All right, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and play this. And it's not a very long video, but like I said, they are supposed to be coming out with a video 9 o'clock Seattle time, which would be 11 o'clock my time. So I'm just going to be watching their website for the video to come out. And then once it does, I can play that for y'all as well.
Good morning from Center Valley, Pennsylvania. Bryan Kohberger attended 2 colleges in this state, including this one, DeSales, before he moved to Washington State last summer. And we've learned that police and prosecutors in these college towns are digging through their cold case files with Bryan Kohberger in mind.
Your natural reaction is to start wondering, okay, is this guy wanted? Is his name out there? Did he do anything here in Northampton County?
District attorneys in 2 Pennsylvania counties tell us they've run Kohberger's name through a database with millions of police incident reports. They're also examining unsolved cases to see if any could be linked to Kohberger, who grew up in the communities near the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania.
It's a little close to home. You just don't expect it. You just don't expect that people that could do something like that could be part of where you live.
What are law officers finding as they dig into the past of the suspect in the murders of 4 students at the University of Idaho?
Obviously, you wonder.
We'll have their preliminary findings tonight at a special time. King 5 News at 9 p.m. I'm Chris Ingalls in Center Valley, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so like I said, I'll be waiting for that video to come out so we can finish watching it. But that's going to be interesting, though, that now that they're going back, they're looking over all these unsolved cases to see if maybe he has something to do with it. Which is going to be crazy if there are some cases around the colleges and in those 2 counties that he's connected to. Sudi, which area are you talking about? Hey, honey, how are you? Okay, I'm pretty sure there are. I'm curious now, Gregory. In Pullman, he moved there right before school started for this school year, between June and August. I believe June, I think someone had said they had saw where his mama had posted about her son going off to college. Let's see, why wasn't the normal situation happening at the house if it was the norm? Is kind of interesting. Yeah, because I mean, the way the creepy neighbor put it was that, like, it was a party house. There was always parties going on the weekend. The next morning, there would always be a lot of the kids out in the backyard where their fire pit is back there. And then for whatever reason, he gets home at 1:30 in the morning. There's no party going on, and there's no kids there the next morning. And he did say that he heard a scream at like 4 a.m. and he thought maybe it was just a scream from a party, so he didn't really think anything about it. And Duck, how are you? And B, how are you tonight? So it's kind of, it's interesting to think, like, why wasn't the normal thing going on? Oh, the creepy neighbor. I don't think it was ever said, Sudi, how long he had been living in the apartment building next to the kid's house. Like, there's an apartment building in front of the kid's house that's on Taylor Avenue, but he lived in the one, there's like 2 long buildings, apartment buildings next door, like right across the street. Like, the little street goes up between those 2 apartment buildings and the house, and he lived in one of those apartments. So basically, he could just go out in the parking lot behind those buildings and look right into the backyard. So it seems like, just by some of his comments, he had been watching the house. For how long, we don't know, but I don't know if somebody put him up to it, or if it was just, he noticed things when he was outside, or what. Still kind of weird, though. All right. TNT video tonight broke that down, and he had been living there for 2 months. Okay, thank you, Brett. Sorry, I'm just catching up. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anyone coming in. Okay, what if Enon edited his Facebook post because he is covering for Bryan? I mean, I don't want to just say, yeah, he was covering for Bryan, or yes, he had something to do with it. I think it is a possibility. Just the similarities between the two. Hey, Tree Baby, how are you? You know, they're both vegan. Bryan lives in Pullman. Creepy neighbor works in Pullman. Just certain things that he said about the house made it like he was watching the house. I don't know. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? He very well could be connected to Bryan somehow. Okay, let me grab. I want to pull this up to y'all because now the news outlets are trying to get this petition, or they're petitioning for the gag order to be undone. They want it to end. Hey, Sweet Candy, how are you? Lily Pad, how are you? They want the gag order to just go away altogether. Okay, once you get used to regular sounds when they don't happen, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You know, I even read something. I believe it was the same night that I first heard about the creepy neighbor. Hey, Miss Penny, Honey Penny, how are you? What was the girl's name? That was a neighbor, and I said she sounded real salty. Was it Jill? Joy? I can't remember her name, but anyway, there was an article out, and she had been interviewed, and she was talking about how she had to sleep with earbuds in because they always had parties going on, and she couldn't hardly sleep and stuff like that. She sounded really salty, and the more we kept reading into it, that's where Enon Harsh came out, and he had actually been interviewed too. We got to looking into him just based on some of the things that he said, and he ended up becoming the creepy neighbor. I heard that he might have another apartment also. Lilypad, would you happen to know possibly where it could be at? Let me see. Do you think Ethan's family will sue DM for not calling police? Lawnmower Man, I don't know. Possibly wrongful death, but I don't know. Because honestly, if it's as bad as they said that it was, I mean, yeah, she should have called police. She should have called them right then. When she seen this guy in her house and she heard all these noises going on and all that, she should have called. But if, she would have told them what she heard and they would have sent an ambulance, I don't think it would have saved any lives. So I don't know if they would be able to sue her or not. Okay, and that's a big if, he was helping BK in some way. Maybe he took off knowing how BK was because he didn't want to be next. It was kind of weird how he just all of a sudden up and leaves and goes to San Francisco and was doing all these videos. He, like I said, he made the one post about the white Hyundai Elantra that was out there. It was parked on the side of the street. Completely disrespectful, in my opinion, of what he posted. It was almost like he thought it was a funny situation when it wasn't. A lot of people got upset over the post and him saying, look, it's the white Hyundai Elantra, the murders follow me, or something to that effect. Like he tried to make it funny and it just wasn't funny. Okay, if he was working the food industry, then he would get off work late and take time to wind down. Yeah, honey, he said he got home at like 1:30 that morning, and he also said something about when he came home that morning, he remembers seeing a black luxury SUV. And he got home around 1:30. I thought maybe to begin with that might have been around the time that Kaylee and Maddie got home, but they actually got home later. So, hey, Karma, how are you? But I mean, yeah, he was probably used to getting home late at night, early in the morning like that. There's a big party going on next door. Um, and like somebody said, when you're used to hearing sounds and then all of a sudden you don't hear them, you do notice it. All right, so I'm going to pull this up real quick. It's just an article. It's talking about the media outlets are asking the Idaho Supreme Court to remove the gag order in a Kohberger murder case. Because they're saying that it's a newsworthy event and they can't cover it because of the gag order. All right. Okay, so it says the media outlets ask Idaho Supreme Court to remove the gag order in the Kohberger murder case. And real quick, while I'm thinking about it, did anybody ever order any of the bracelets with the kids' names on it? I remember a few weeks ago we ended up posting the link to where you could buy them. Even if Dylan had called police at any time during those noises she heard, it couldn't have saved any. Yeah, I don't think it would have saved them. I think the injuries were too bad to save them. But I think that if she would have called police 7.5 hours earlier, it probably wouldn't have taken them as long to catch who did it. Okay, I want us to get some. Where's the link? Trying to remember. Let me see if I've got it on my bookmarks. I don't even remember who sent me the link now. A Simple Butterfly in here. She might have been the one who sent me the link. Okay, just curious, is a Murdoch case done? Is she guilty yet? Philly Maniac, I haven't even been watching it the last few days. I know it was on today. I believe I heard that the state has rested, and now it's the defense's turn to start calling their witnesses. I believe that's what I heard. Simple Butterfly, were you the one that had sent me the link to where people could order the bracelets with the kids' names on it? I thought I had it bookmarked, but I don't. Okay, can you email that to me again if you don't mind? Karma Reflections was asking for the link. If she would like to order some of them. I know it was like $6 and you get 4 of them. And all the proceeds are to go to the college so the college can build a memorial for the kids. Okay, and thank you, Simple Butterfly. So Karma, as soon as she sends me that link, I will grab it out of my email and I will post it in here in the chat for you. All right, so let me get through this one real quick. And it says that more than 24 media companies, including the Idaho Statesman and several TV stations, have filed a petition asking the Idaho Supreme Court to remove a sweeping gag order in the case of the man charged with killing 4 University of Idaho students. The petition filed Monday evening asked the courts to order the Latah County District Court and Judge Megan Marshall to vacate the non-dissemination order issued last month in Bryan Kohberger's case. So that would have been done yesterday. I don't know how long it's going to take them to get it done, if she's going to, for her to look at it, make a decision on it, or whatever. But we did go over also that the Gonzalez family's attorney, Shannon Gray, has also challenged it. All right, it says Kohberger was arrested in late December and charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of the U of I seniors Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. And an initial order prohibited law enforcement and attorneys for the prosecution and the defense from sharing any information in the case publicly unless they were directly citing official public records in the case. Marshall then expanded the order to include attorneys for the witnesses, victims, or their families. The petition filed by Boise attorney Wendy Olson on behalf of the outlet said that the judge issued both gag orders without a hearing and without including any factual findings to establish why such an order would be necessary. Olson argued that the gag order restrained petitioners' rights to gather and publish information about this newsworthy matter. The petitioners included several Boise-based outlets, including the Idaho Statesman, Idaho Capital Sun, TV news stations KTVB and KIVI, and the Boise State Public Radio. It also included several North Idaho and Eastern Washington outlets, national outlets including the New York Times and the Washington Post, and two journalism organizations, the Idaho Press Club and the Society of Professional Journalists. The petition included a memorandum in support filed by Shannon Gray, an attorney representing Gonzalez's family. Gray wrote that the order restricts his clients who are not parties named in the Kohberger case from exercising their right to free speech. Gray said that since the gag order was issued last month, neither he nor the Gonzalez family members have spoken to any media outlets out of fear of being held in contempt of court. The petition also noted that several instances in which officials declined to provide information or speak to the media by citing the gag order, a Washington organization that provides 911 services in Moscow, has asked the judge to clarify whether it is subject to the gag order so that it can determine whether the release copies of the 911 calls affiliated with the killings to the media outlets that have filed public record requests. So hopefully at least the 911 place will hear something back to see if they can release that 911 call. So Moscow Mayor Art Bedich told one reporter that he did not believe he could comment on how the community is healing due to the gag order. Officials including Pennsylvania State Police, a Latah County Sheriff's Office, Moscow Police Department, and Pullman Police Department have declined to comment or denied public records requests affiliated with the homicide, citing the order. Olson urged the Idaho Supreme Court to remove the order, saying that it has caused irreparable harm and suppressed news outlets and others' free speech rights. So hopefully this attorney can get something done. That way the media can start putting stuff out. They can start talking to people. That way the public will know what's going on with the case. Anything that could possibly harm the case, I don't think they should talk about, obviously. And then the 911 call. Hopefully they can release that as well. The public also deserves a fair trial so the verdict doesn't get overturned. So hopefully we'll know something here soon. Like I said, I don't know how long it's going to take her to look over it, because now that was done yesterday, and then Shannon Gray's was done Thursday or Friday, I believe. So we'll have to wait and see, how long it's going to take her. Okay, can't even know how the community is healing is pretty strict. Exactly, B. I get not wanting the attorneys to speak. But, and I'm talking attorneys for, Bryan's attorney and the state. I get that. But people like the Gonzalez family's attorney, or them not wanting the Gonzalez family to speak, or any of the families for that matter, it doesn't really make any sense. Okay. Don't have an opinion on it. I think they need to do whatever they need to do in order to have a fair trial. In my opinion, everyone is just being selfish and impatient. Yes, I'm being very impatient. I will agree on that. But I also do want the info. I want to know. I would like to just hear the 911 call. Honestly, who was in the house before the police arrived? How long were they in the house? Did they go trampling all over the crime scene? Obviously, they went in the house, but I'm wondering, did they go upstairs with Kaylee and Maddie, or did they just stay on the second and first floors? Let's see. Before I sent my kids back to school, I would need more information about whether or not they have the right guy. My kids wouldn't be going back. Let's see. I think the 911 call will raise a lot more questions. It probably, I mean, because even with the 911 call and you find out who was there, you're not going to know how long they were there, which is a good question as well. Like, when did she call these kids to come over, and why did she call these kids before she called police? See, the public doesn't need to know the details until trial. The public wants to know, and they thinks that they deserve information critical for a conviction. I'd rather wait. I mean, I wouldn't want them giving out anything that's going to harm the investigation. But I do believe that there probably could be some stuff that they could release that wouldn't harm it. I mean, honestly, what is releasing the 911 call going to harm? The pick a Gabby you shared, Philly Maniac. Yes, that was heartbreaking. Hey Tracy, how are you? All right, let me grab my next thing here. Hold on one second, y'all. Okay, thank you, Simple Butterfly. Okay, let me go grab the link that Simple Butterfly sent. So I can put that in the chat for y'all. Maybe Dylan was trying to get in touch with some of the triplets and had to go through people to get their numbers, explaining why she needed to each person. Okay, it must not have came through yet, Simple Butterfly. So I'll give it a few more minutes. It may take it a second to come through, but as soon as I get it, I'll post it. Okay, yes, I did find Simple. She knew what she was doing. Okay, y'all were talking about something else. Thus causing a group of people showing up at the house. Yeah. Hold on, y'all. Okay, Simple Butterfly, you may have to resend it. Because for some reason it is not in my it's not in my inbox. It hasn't came through. I don't know what's up with my email. It gets to working fine and then it wants to start acting up again. All right. All right, let me get back over into. Oh wait, here we go. All right, Simple Butterfly, I got it. Okay, let me grab this link real quick. What the heck? All right, one second, y'all. Trying to get it pulled up here. All right. Okay. All right, Simple Butterfly, thank you so much for sending that. And I actually need to bookmark this so I'll have it. Okay. All right. Okay. Karma, here is the link where you can order the bracelets. Like I said, I believe it's $6 for 4. Okay, didn't I say in the beginning that the survivors text people during the incident to come over in the morning? I remember they said something. Um, I've heard Karma Reflection that she called. I think this was in the thing I read last night. She called a friend of hers. She asked him to come over because she had heard all the weird noises going on, and she wanted him, I guess, to be with her when she left out of her room, or to get him to go through the house and make sure everything was okay. Um, I don't know about if she sent a text out, to ask people to come there that morning, unless it was that person. I don't know. And you're very welcome for the link. Shit, y'all. I try to grab the link for Stone Gator and mute it myself. Okay, if they release a 911 call, people won't be happy with just that. They'll fuss until something else was released. It's never-ending cycle. Are we all doing is giving defense ideas for reasonable doubt? Now, I mean, honestly, I would be happy with just the 911 call right now. Hey, Yorkie Mama, how are you? And Jody is cool. How are you? All right, Stone Gator, I'm bringing you up.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So I was listening, playing my game, Thank you for being my number one YouTuber at night.
Oh, well,
Anyway,
thank you.
I was thinking, do you think, as an attorney, do you think that it would potentially taint a potential juror by, which is what worse, speculation from a YouTube community, or information given by law enforcement that will then in turn be switched around and everything else on YouTube? They'll play it and then they'll continue speculating on what's being said. So, do you think that it's worse for just YouTubers to go on about speculating? Or do you think it's worse for them to release information, for it to go on YouTube and continue speculating? Which one do you think would be worse for a potential juror in this trial?
I think if they're going to put something out, like release information, and it does go on YouTube, it needs to be as it is released. Like, let me think of an example.
Use the 911 call as an example, please, because that's what you were
Okay.
talking about.
I
So if
think
they
that
release that.
Okay, so if they were to release a 911 call, then anybody on YouTube, and this is just my opinion, should play the 911 call if that's what they want to do on their channel, um, because that's like, are they really gonna? How could I put this? Are they gonna alter a 911 call? More than
You
likely
don't know
not.
what these creators these days, but directly
No,
from law enforcement, no.
no,
It
yeah,
will
that's
be
what.
the original call. But
Right, that's what.
every channel has a different opinion and
Mhm.
speculates different. And then you know that subs go to all the channels and then they go, oh, I heard this and then I heard that. And then it's just going to come into this big old whole thing again with every channel saying something different. And to me, releasing the information and having each channel go with their own, their own opinion of the evidence or whatever's leaked out or whatever's given,
Mhm.
I think it will eventually hurt a potential juror.
Right, but like
Instead
I
of
was.
just going into the trial blind-eyed, only knowing what we know now, going in, if you're picked for the jury, and you're still keeping that open mind to everything you're going to hear in that courtroom. But now, if they play this 911 call and every channel on YouTube is going to play it, have their opinion, start talking about it and speculating with, to the 911 call of what could have possibly happened. And then you're going to go into this jury and you're going to have that 911 call and everything that's been said on YouTube in the back of your mind, just like you're going to have this speculation going on now, but you're also going to have that 911 call as it's playing in court in the back of your mind with all the channels and all the creators. Am I the only one thinking this, or is this, am I even making any sense? Am I getting my
Yeah.
words out right? I think
Yeah.
it's going to hurt.
I mean, honestly, if they were to come out with the 911 call, if they did release that, I would play it on my channel. I would know that if it's coming straight from law enforcement, it's not altered in any way. Maybe some speculation would go on. I mean, I can't tell people in the chat not to speculate, but you know,
I'm not
it
even
would,
talking about you.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not
it would
even talking about.
answer. It would answer a lot of questions I think that a lot of people have. Basically, who it was that made the 911 call. Potentially, if there was any other names mentioned in the 911 call. Just general information from the call. But I do get what you're saying as well about, you know, the speculation on YouTube and all that. But I mean, people are going to speculate no matter what they put out. It can
That's
come
why they're
straight.
not putting out anything, in my
Right.
opinion.
Right. Well, I think that, and I just think that because I've always wondered if maybe they're hiding something. If there's something else that they're looking into that they don't want us to know about. Hey, Country Sunset, how are you? Um, I, I don't know.
And then
It's
it's not that, Scarlett, it's not like it's a regular trial. Like, you know what I mean? It's a death penalty case.
right.
They have to go, they have to go through every single thing and make sure that they can get this guy on a death penalty sentence. So I also think that's a big reason why they're keeping a lot secret, because like this is a big deal, you know what I mean? This is a high
Oh,
profile case, just like it's not even other high profile cases like Daryl Brooks and stuff like that. I feel like this is, bigger than that. I think and I keep coming up here and giving law enforcement excuses as to why they're not releasing anything, but I hope that I am making sense.
right. No, I get what you're saying. And Philly Maniac, I dropped the link for you if you want to come up. But no, I mean, I get what you're saying. But I mean, people can also come back and say that the 911 call is public record. And the public.
Not on an open investigation in a homicide. Nope, you cannot FOIA a 911 call.
Then
And
why is the 911 center in Whitman County wanting to know if they can release it or not?
Whitman County's in Washington or Idaho?
It's Washington, but that's where the 911 center is that handles the Moscow, at the 911 calls for Moscow, Idaho. And they're also questioning this gag order, if they're included in it, because they're trying to find out if they can release it to people who have sent public requests in.
That's weird, because Washington's not under the gag order, which is why we know what was in his apartment, but Idaho is. So that's going to be difficult.
Because Pullman Police Department are they're not wanting to comment on anything either, because they're wondering if they're part of this gag order. I mean, it is law enforcement that's involved in the case.
It's probably, I was thinking a single person was going to FOIA the 911 call, but evidently it's the 911 center that's requesting it.
I don't know if they handle other places. If that, it's called Whitcomb, is the place. It's in Whitman County, which is in Washington, which Pullman is in Whitman County. But they're the ones that handle the 911 calls for Moscow. And so I don't know if they handle other ones for other counties or what, but they're wanting to know about the gag order as well, so they can because if they're not included in it, then they're wanting to release the 911 call. Leanne, thank you so much for becoming a member, honey, and welcome to the family. So they're wanting to release it.
We're gonna have to see what the judge. When is the hearing for that?
I don't think they set a hearing date on it.
That's going to be interesting considering the states are so close together and the cities are, you know what I mean? It's only, 10 minutes apart from each other? And considering that very well is in Washington, you know, even though it's in Idaho. So that's going to be very interesting. That's weird.
Because, I mean, the law enforcement in Pullman or Moscow, like they're not commenting on anything. And, you know, if a news agency reaches out to them, they bring up the gag order, and they said that they can't speak on the case. Hey Tara, how are you? They can't speak on the case. So
I asked you in the chat last night, but you must not have saw it. So did Steve Gonsalves try to get the gag order overturned, or was it his attorney?
His attorney is trying to
And
get it. Well, his attorney is challenging the gag order because he is not considered. Shannon Gray, which is the attorney, nor the Gonsalves family are parties to the case, is what he is saying. So he is wanting to be out from under the gag order. But he did say that him nor the Gonsalves families have spoken to media or, you know, did any type of interviews or spoken about the case because they were in fear of contempt of court. So he challenged it. It's either Thursday or Friday of last week. He did, like, his court documents came out. Then yesterday, all the news agencies did theirs. I've heard, I don't know what day the Whitcomb 911 place did theirs, but there's a lot of people that's challenging it.
But I think theirs got denied.
Whose did?
The attorney, Steve's attorney.
Where did you see that at?
I heard it somewhere. That's why I had asked you about it in chat. I must have heard it yesterday or the day before, because it might have been the day before you wasn't here. So it might have been last night I asked you about it. Because I wanted to know if you had heard about it, but I did. I'm going to have to go search for it now.
Okay. Yeah, because I haven't heard that. I'm just reading something in chat real quick. But I haven't heard that, and I haven't seen it, like nobody else do a YouTube video on it.
I know, that's why I asked you about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I can't remember if it was either Thursday or Friday. There was 3 different court documents that came out that he did. All right, let me go to the website real quick so I can get the proper name for each document. I know one was, let me find it. Okay, so he did a motion to appeal, amend, and or clarify amended non-dissemination order. He did a memoranda in the support of motion, and then he did a notice of appearance. But I don't think that any of them, because he's asking for a hearing on it. Shannon Gray is.
So they didn't even have a hearing on it. He just did the motion last week. Is that what you're saying?
Right. This was all done February the 3rd. So, shit, where's my calendar? That would have been Friday because the 4th was Saturday. So, yeah, he just did it Friday. And he said that he is asking for a hearing on the matter. So they probably haven't even had time to schedule it unless they scheduled it today.
Scarlett.
Mm-hmm.
Your chat probably hates me up here, but guess what?
What?
Can we talk Murdaugh trial for a minute, please?
Let me get through everything else that I got going on tonight, because honestly, I haven't even been watching the Murdaugh trial. I haven't watched it. Oh, damn. I haven't watched it yesterday or today. Did I watch it last week?
You probably just watched it the one day that you streamed it.
No, I watched it after that, but I don't think I watched it Thursday or Friday. I don't remember, but it's
Okay,
been several
I'll
days
wait.
since I watched it. But yeah, let me get through all of my stuff with Kohberger, and then if you want to come back up after that, and we can talk about it, because honestly, I don't even know what's going on with it. I did hear that the state was supposed to rest, and then the defense was supposed to start calling their people up, but I don't even know when they if they've done that yet.
I just want to say they saved the best witness for last, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. But I'll wait my turn.
Okay, now I know why I didn't watch it, because the last time I put it on there, they had they were going over the finance stuff, that the evidentiary hearing, and the jury wasn't in there, so it was basically going over all that so the judge can rule if he's going to allow it in the trial, and he ended up allowing it into the trial, and I haven't watched it since then. So that was like 10 minutes maybe that day, the first day they were doing all that, and I haven't watched it since then. So I have no idea what's even going on with it.
I just want to talk about the last witness whenever you're done. It was the
Okay.
gunshot residue person, so yeah, it's very interesting. But
Okay.
I'll wait my turn. I'll wait till Kohberger's over with if you let me come back up.
Yeah, just remind me after I'm done with all this, and I'll drop the link for you to come back up. We'll discuss it.
Okay, that sounds awesome. I'll be in chat.
Okay,
Bye.
then. All right. Have a good night. All right. Let me exit off of this. Okay. All right, and I'm still watching for this other video. Okay. All right. I'm gonna grab this article because there is another article that tells a little bit more about um, the authorities in Pennsylvania and what they're doing. Okay, I don't want to check. Shit, hold on. You always put these big ads on there, and then it blocks my whole thing. Okay, and if I've missed any questions, y'all in the chat, I do apologize. Control more. Okay. Death penalty is given, and there were multiple forensic science provided evidence. Death penalty should be carried out within 5 years, in my opinion. West Tennessee here. Yeah, but they have so long to do all of their appeals if they are found guilty on a death penalty case. And they're like, they have so many appeals, but they have so long to do them. And Country Sunset, yes, I do too. Every time I pull something up, there's always ads popping up on it. And they just get in my way. James, how are you? See, no one even says allegedly anymore. Oh, News Nation came out with a new video. Hold on, y'all. Let me jump into my other email real quick and see what they got going on. Yeah, I mean the appeal process, that is true. It's super long. You know, they have so many different appeals. Okay, so Simple Butterfly. These are 3 new videos that just came out. Wait, hold on. Somebody's birthday's in what? Wait, y'all, I'm trying to catch this so it doesn't start playing. Sharon's. Wait, don't we have more than one Sharon in here? Which Sharon is it? Wait, what a baby. All right, let me get this one pulled up and see what it's about. All right, looks like a News Nation release because they've been wrong time and time again. Okay, so this one came out. Kohberger reportedly fired as teaching assistant. I know that they did say WSU put out a thing to their students that he's no longer enrolled in the school. So if, we were talking about this like last week, his attorney's trying to get a bail reduction, which I don't think he's going to get. But if for whatever reason he does get a bail reduction and then he's able to post bond, where's he going to go? Because he ain't got the apartment no more. He's not enrolled in the college over there. Okay. All right. So it's going to be Sharon King's birthday. 17 minutes. So y'all be sure to wish Sharon King a happy birthday. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play these 3 videos real quick. The karma reflection. I did see that. It was like all of the, wasn't it like the PhD students that was in the program there? And they had all of their pictures up there that was in that program, and they ended up ripping his off in like a case on the wall. I remember seeing that. His new girlfriend, he'd be moving to where's she from? Kentucky? With Brittany Hislop. Adrian, how are you? All right, so let's play this and see what Ashley has to say, since he was reportedly fired as a teaching assistant. That's interesting. Okay, exit off of this. Pull it up. Okay, you won't get bail. Encyclopedia, I don't think he will either. I mean, she's asking for a bail reduction, and he doesn't even have a bail to begin with. Okay, no local residence, and he will be over 2,500 miles away when arrested. Yeah, I think that for whatever reason, he would get bail. He would have to, stay in the area, I think. And I don't think anybody in the area of Moscow wants him there. Adrian, I'm doing good, thank you. All right, so let's see what Ashley's got to say.
Murder case, there's been a lot of focus on the chieftain. And now we are learning a few things were happening in that man's life leading up to and right after the murders. Things like being investigated by his own school, Washington State University, where he was working as a teaching assistant. And apparently the investigation wasn't going well. He was warned time after time after time to cut back on the bad behavior. We're told behavioral problems specifically. But time after time after time, he didn't. He got more feisty and belligerent, even arguing with his professors, until they finally decided, you're fired. That's right. Bryan Kohberger was fired as a teaching assistant from Washington State University. I have the actual specifics of this, and I wanted to sort of go through what we have come to learn was the sort of timeline of his warnings and all of the things that were listed on a termination letter that Kohberger himself was given right before they cut the cord with him. So I'm going to just watch some of these so I don't get them wrong. But the highlights, or lowlights, I guess you might call them, was that he had a sexist attitude towards females that he interacted with at the school, that he was rude to the women, and then get this, as a teaching assistant, he apparently graded the women differently than he graded the men. Here is the alleged language that was included in his termination letter along with the timeline, starting on September 23rd. And by our math, that's about 1 month into his brand new job as a teaching assistant in his doctoral program, which may or may not have been tied to his teaching job. September 23rd, Kohberger apparently has an altercation with one of the professors named Dr. Snyder. Just 10 days later, on October 3rd, the letter outlines that they had met to, quote, discuss the norms of professional behavior. And then 18 days after that, on October the 21st, Dr. Snyder emails Bryan Kohberger to say that he has, quote, failed to meet the expectations that were outlined in the discussions they'd had before. 12 days after that, on November the 2nd, they met again to discuss what they called an improvement plan. And then on December the 7th, that's about, well, let's cut to actually 12 days later. Well, it's 11 days later, the murders actually happen. So they have the meeting to discuss the improvement plan. And 11 days later, on November 13th, the murders are carried out. Then cut forward to 24 days beyond, and that's December 7th. That's when there was another meeting with the professors. And this was supposed to be about the progress of the, quote, improvement plan. Apparently, it didn't go too well because 2 days later, on December 9th, he had another altercation with Dr. Snyder. And here's the quote, in which it became apparent that you had not made progress regarding professionalism. 10 days after that, December 19th, Bryan Kohberger is officially terminated by Washington State University. And some are reporting that he was withdrawn from the data system 3 days later, on December the 22nd. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find
Well, damn. Hey, Rebel Ray, how are you? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things that they had to discuss with him or about him before he was fired. Now, sexist attitude towards women, being rude to women, and then grading the women different than men, I believe that. Like how they talked about when he was in Pennsylvania at the bar out there, how he talked to women and treated them, made them uncomfortable. It doesn't surprise me, honestly. He has something towards women that he doesn't like them for some reason. All right, let me get this other. That is crazy. Okay, change. Okay, all right, I did that one. I gotta remember which one I did. Okay, so this is another one about him failing to meet the expectations. Wonder if his new girlfriend is like, oh my God, a rebel who killed. I'm just looking so. I think she needs help, honestly. The Brittany girl, like, I'm not making fun of her or anything like that. I do think she needs help. Let's see. Okay, the university and the Popo protect each other. That's much as obvious to me anyway. Yeah. Hey, Tonka, how are you? Okay, I bet he's got a dysfunctional relationship with his own mother and possibly his sisters. Yeah, because, I mean, if you think about it, growing up, that's who he was always, like, he was always around, just in their household. I don't know about, like, the rest of his family. If he has, like, more aunts and uncles or more female cousins than male cousins. But just in his house growing up, he was around females more than he was men. And Tonka, I'm doing good, thank you. He has something out for women that is not good. Honestly. That's crazy, y'all. All right, so let me get this video. This is similar to the last one, talking about that he failed to meet the expectations. Okay. His lawyer is a woman. Yes, Simple Butterfly. I wonder how he's reacting to her because, I mean, if you think about it, that's a woman that he can't push over. So I wonder how he's dealing with her. Okay, Philly, you want to come up? Let me grab the link for you real quick. Okay, Philly, I put it out there for you. But yeah, I'm wondering um, how he's handling her. And yeah, intellectually, she is smarter than him. Uh, she can probably talk circles around this dude. She's not, more than likely, she's not going to put up with his shit, especially if he tries to get an attitude with her, if he tries to tell her how to do her job, or if she's wrong about something, like he's trying to show his authority over her. She's not going to put up with that, and he's not going to like it. Satin Bee, thank you so much for the super sticker. That was very nice. Okay, let's be honest though. Teaching college kids these days is a bloody nightmare. There are a bunch of sensitive little whiners who take offense to everything. The Rockaways, how are you? All right, Philly, I'm bringing you up. How are you?
Scarlett. Hey, how are you? No, you can't hear me?
Yeah, I can now. I'm sorry. I had my computer muted.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I always mute it after I get done with a video so I don't have to listen to it continue playing once I've exited off of it. And I forgot to unmute it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I was just wondering with the Kohberger case,
Mm-hmm.
and sorry, my cat is climbing all over my computer right now.
No, you're
But
good.
with the Kohberger case, like how, like the state of Idaho is how big, right? So how are they going to find, what is it, 12 jurors?
Yes.
Like everybody in that state knows
Right.
what happened in that house. Like,
I think they're going to have to do a change of venue.
but can they move it out of state? Like I don't really know how that works, but
I wouldn't think they would be able
everybody,
to move it out of state. Crime Solver, thank you so much for gifting that one membership. That was very nice of you. Thank you. Oh, and it went to Sharon. She's the one with the birthday. So that was awesome. She got a good birthday gift. But yeah, I don't
happy
think they could
birthday.
move it. I don't think they would be able to move it out of state. I don't. I mean, I could probably to a bigger city like Boise. Um, I don't think they would be able to move it out of state.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because, and I know it's probably not gonna be that we're not gonna, they're not gonna start the case for like probably like what, a year from now. But
Yeah, I mean, the preliminary hearing is in June. I'm sure after that, like the next one's probably a year from now. Yeah. And Mom Bear says she's an attorney and no, they won't be able to move it out of state.
that's the thing that I'm like curious about because like if it was in the state of Texas or like a big state like Florida or something,
Right.
you would find some people that never heard about the case and don't have an opinion of what
Right.
they think about the case. But in the state of Idaho, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know how they're going to do that.
I don't know. They'll probably have to move it. Like I said, probably to Boise. That's a bigger city. And Stone Gator, thank you so much for the gift and the
Yeah.
membership. That was very nice of you. But yeah, I mean that's what they had to do with Lori Vallow's case. They had to end up doing a change of venue and moving it to Boise. because where they were at, I think Chad lived in Rexburg, which is where her kids were unalived. So it was such national news, well, I would say worldwide, and they thought they wasn't going to be able to get a jury there where they were at, so they ended up moving it. So more than likely, that's what they're going to have to do with this case, because even we all know in America where everybody is entitled to a fair trial.
Right.
If he has a trial in Moscow, he's not going to get a fair trial. So I think the only way he's going to get a fair trial would be to move it somewhere else.
And I guess I was following the Murdaugh case up until like a couple days ago because I was busy. And South Carolina is a big state, so I guess if they found 12 jurors to not be opinionated in the state of South Carolina,
well, he chose to have his trial there. He didn't want to have a change of venue. He wanted his peers of that county to judge him, and that's why his wasn't moved.
Oh, okay.
So
that was like part of his strategy.
I guess so. I mean, they're saying that like that name is probably intimidating to a lot of people, and maybe that's where he was going with it. Kohberger is like nobody's. He doesn't intimidate people, but I still don't think he would get a fair trial that everybody who goes to court is entitled to. I don't think he would get it in Moscow.
Okay.
But they may still have it there. But I think that they're going to move it.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy too. Like where Kohberger's from, he's from the Pocono Mountains in PA. Where I used to vacation there like every summer. I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah. I was kind of like, did I run into this guy? Because the Pocono Mountains is not very big. There's not many people there.
Oh, okay.
So when I was kind of like, when I started following the case in Idaho, you're not expecting that, they found the person near your hometown, It was
right.
It was just kind of weird.
Yeah. And now all these people are coming out that went to school with him and telling stories about how he was back in the day. And, I read one guy was saying like it wasn't him, like he was a good kid and, growing up and they worked together and all that. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's almost, they were talking about the weight loss. And right around the time he was doing the weight loss and his drug addiction is when his attitude kind of switched. Yeah. And then it was like this time, during this period, whenever the murders happened, his students were talking about how like his attitude switched. Like he graded very hard to begin with. And then after the murders happened, even though they didn't know that at that time the murders had happened, but all of them said around that time that's when he started grading better. Like he was more lenient on the students in the grading and it wasn't as harsh. And so that's why I was thinking, well, people are talking about how he changed when he was younger. Did something happen and that caused him to change? Just like this time something happened and then it caused him to change.
Yeah, something probably happened in his childhood, and maybe more of that is going to come out when they go to trial and they start interviewing people or his family. Something made him snap, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but something probably made him snap. Yeah.
He just you know, and I was like writing down as quick as I could while Ashley was telling everything that he, you know, 6 different occasions where he's either had an altercation with the professor, they've had to have a meeting about him, the professors had to have a meeting, but I mean, it was all because he was, you know, sexist attitude towards women. He was rude to women, and he graded women's, his grading towards women was different than he did for the men.
Oh
He's
wow, I didn't know that. Okay,
he's got
wow,
something against women
women.
that
Okay,
he doesn't like. And I think by hearing that, and then he goes to this house where it's all women who live. Um,
very attractive young girls.
right.
Yeah, that makes
It,
sense.
I think that he might have targeted, and I'm sure there's other houses with all women that's not a sorority house that's near the campus. For whatever reason, he picked this house out and these girls. I don't know if he's seen them somewhere, if he tried to talk to one of them and they turned him down and didn't want to hear it from him. Whatever it was, but it was something about this house with these women. And I just don't think that I think Ethan, just by hearing this, Ethan might have been collateral damage. And it might have
Yeah,
been something towards these 3, but it still don't make sense why Dylan and Bethany, you know, and maybe he just didn't know that Bethany was home that night, and maybe with this whole visual snow that he's got, and they're saying these black spots that he gets in his like on the peripheral vision part of his eyesight, and he's walking by Dylan. Maybe he just didn't see her,
yeah, or
you know.
maybe he just ran out of steam. I mean, it could have
Yeah,
been just that simple that he he went into that house, took out the two, you know, the 2 blonde girls on the 3rd floor, went down to the
right.
2nd floor, had no idea he was going to encounter a guy, a big guy. Like, wasn't he like 6
Uh,
foot tall and kind of
yeah,
muscular or something?
Brian was 6 foot. I think Ethan was probably taller than Brian.
And
Honestly,
Ethan was kind of big, right? Wasn't he
bigger.
like he
Yeah,
was an athlete or something,
yeah,
right? So
yeah. So he was probably bigger in the body, but also taller than Brian. And
right,
just doing what he did to Ethan probably took a lot of energy.
yeah, I totally agree.
Let's see. It would be interesting to find out if he had any behavioral issues with his female teachers at the sales. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's a great question.
because you know I don't remember if I read this to y'all or if there was a video that I played about it, but I do remember reading somewhere that one of his professors, out of all of her years of teaching, she had only recommended 2 of her students to a PhD program, and Brian was one of them. So
The
I
lady
wonder.
that the lady that wrote all the books, the famous
No,
lady.
no, it it wasn't her. This was she was a dark haired lady, either dark brown hair or black hair. I can't remember her name. Oh my God, y'all, my allergies are killing me tonight. But she said that all of her years of teaching, she's only recommended 2 students to a PhD program, and he was one of them. And that says a lot for
Yeah,
a professor, especially if she's only done 2 out of her years of teaching. Um, so I don't know if maybe, you know, did he have a good relationship with her because he could push her over, and, you know, she wasn't, um,
did
like
he?
she wasn't like some women just isn't going to let some man talk to them bad. She might not have been that way. She might have been, well, I'm trying to think of the right word to say, um, timid.
Did,
She may have been a timid woman who would allow a man to talk to her like that. Me, I got a mouth and an attitude. Me and Brian Kohberger wouldn't get along very good. Um, just ask Troll. Like, I don't allow men to talk to me like that. But
Go
she might have been
troll.
different. You know, she could have been completely different and been a very timid female.
But
And
yeah,
let,
and
you
he
know,
might have been like the he might have been a good manipulator
Right.
to women, like, and especially if he had some kind of. That's the first I heard that. I didn't know that he apparently had like problems with women and was like manipulating women. That kind of makes sense now.
Yeah, because if I don't remember if you might not have been in here the night that I read about the bar out in Pennsylvania. He had went out there and like he went in there several times, and some of the female, I can't remember if it was one of the waitresses or maybe a female that was just there, one of the customers, but she had told the owner how he made her feel uncomfortable, and I think he might have called her some names or something like that. And the owner of the bar actually had to tell him like, we don't put up with stuff like that. If you're going to do that, I'm going to have to ask you to leave and not come back. And if I remember correctly, after the owner told him that, Bryan left and he never came back to the bar, because somebody stepped up to him and he didn't like that.
Right.
All right. Jesse Katz, how are you? But yeah, he and that could be the same thing with the Ramslin, Catherine Ramslin. She's the one who talked to BTK and helped write the book and all that. Um, I don't know. Maybe he got along with her. I don't look at her as being timid though, but she could be. But I think maybe he looked at her as like, hey, that's my way into, in with BTK. Just my opinion. It could be a possibility. She just to me doesn't look like the type that would let someone walk all over her. But I could be wrong about that too.
I'm not too familiar with her, but
Yeah, she's the one that wrote the books and all that. She's supposed to be an SK expert, and he actually studied under her while he was at the Sales University as well.
wow.
But whatever his deal is, though, he's got issues with females.
Yeah, I mean, and I think too, like, I mean, I hate to be like kind of cliche or like with a lot of these serial killers, and I don't know if Bryan's technically considered a serial killer. Well, I guess he is, right? He killed 4 people.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they would consider him one though. I don't know. I don't know if there's certain things that a person would have to do in order to be considered an SK. I mean, if I think of a person as an SK, that's someone like Ted Bundy or BTK, where they do it,
Right.
and then they have their cool down period, and then they come back and they do it again, and they have similarities in each one. And
Yeah. Okay.
but he could be classified as one, even though he did all of them in
But
one night.
but do all these people still have the same common characteristic of they're all mentally ill? I mean, or is that something different? Because I
I
the
don't know. I
more
mean,
the more I hear about these killers, the more it seems like there's some type of underlying mental illness. But I don't know.
was Ted Bundy or BTK or any of them, were they ever diagnosed with anything?
I don't know. I'm just that's why I'm questioning. Like,
That's
is
a
it
good
two
question.
separate things, or is it an underlying thing to what they're doing?
I mean, that's a good question because I'm gonna have to write myself a note. I need to look into that because okay, wait, little baby. Um, I don't remember if they've. Uh,
Like that
I mean,
dude in. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like that dude in California. What the hell is that guy's name? The dude that posted those videos where he's like, "Hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kill a bunch of people." Like the young dude. He was like in his 20s.
Oh, you're talking about Elliot Rogers.
Yes,
Yeah,
that dude. obviously that dude was, you know, there
Right.
was some type of mental illness with that guy.
Right.
But that, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that he fits into the same category of every other person that became a mass murderer or anything. But
Right. I think Elliot Rodger was he considered an SK, or was he considered just like a mass murderer?
mass murderer,
Yeah. But I remember watching one of his videos, like right before he did that, and very, very, very
you
bad
just
vibes.
you looked into his eyes in I only saw a couple of his videos, but
Hmm.
his
Yeah.
eyes said everything, like that he was disturbed, you know.
Right. Yeah. He considered himself an incel, and I don't know what Bryan considered himself, but
And
he
so
could have
yes,
been. Bryan could have been shut down by women in middle school or high school, and it may have made him turn against women and not like them. Um, that's what worries me about this Brittany lady who's sending him letters. You know,
yeah,
he is her, what was it, her a divine masculine counterpart, and she is lovesick for him, or love struck, or whatever word she used. But is she not hearing this stuff that we're all hearing about him, about how he has attitudes towards women and the way he treats women? Like, this isn't the first time just from WSU. Like, this came out from that bar in Pennsylvania. um like, what, does she not see that he could potentially hurt her if he was to get out? God, I hope he doesn't. But
right.
let's just say he did. He gets out and he goes to her house. He could hurt her too.
Or
I
and her
wonder if she's
family,
thinking about
or
that.
what
Right?
if she has kids?
She
Yeah.
has a yeah, she has a 16-year-old son.
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness.
this big giant 6 foot tall man hurting your mama. What do you think a 16, 17-year-old boy is going to do? He's going to try to defend his mother, and Bryan could then hurt him. I
I
I wonder if
don't.
she's
I
thinking
don't
about all
understand.
that.
I don't understand these people that, is it like the fascination with serial killers or mass
I,
murderers that all of a sudden they're getting these love letters?
I don't know. I mean, this lady she's from Kentucky. She had been talking to this other guy that's in prison for uh he killed one man, a 50-year-old man, and then went after the man's wife and daughter with a machete. Um, and she literally started contacting this guy, writing him letters, putting money on his books, and would come try to go see him. I don't know if he ever did see her or not, but he had to actually tell the prison to block her from coming to see him.
Wow.
And yes, it is called, wait, let me find Susie's, uh, hybristophilia is what it's called. And it's an interest in and attraction to those who commit crimes. Like,
Wow. Okay, I never heard that term before.
yeah, that's like, an actual medical term
Wow.
for that. And I just hope that this lady, for whatever reason, she doesn't get hurt. Um, and not making fun of her. I really think that she should get counseling.
You know
And I'm
what
not
though?
being, go ahead.
She's probably not going to be the only one. I mean, this trial is not even going to start till like
Oh,
the middle of next year.
right. And I told y'all, I told y'all, like, not long after he got arrested, watch and see if there's a bunch of crazy ass women who start coming out and they're in love with him. They want to marry him. They want to go see him. I told y'all it was going to happen. It sure
That's
enough.
crazy. It's messed up.
I don't understand it. I mean, this girl lives in Kentucky, and this dude is in jail in Idaho. Is she gonna drive from Kentucky to Idaho to go see this dude for visitation?
Oh yeah, she's going to drive all the way over there with a box of chocolates and some
Uh,
flowers, and she's going to be like, "Hi, Brian, it's me." Like,
oh my God, that is. I don't know. He may turn her away too, but then again, he may like it because he's getting attention from a female.
Yeah.
You know,
And
especially if she's sitting here saying she loves him and, um, you know, they're meant to be together, and he starts believing her and all that.
that's all he wants is attention, right?
Right. Oh yes, he's loving all the attention from the news media and YouTube and Facebook. He's loving all that,
Yeah.
you know. So
All
I
right.
don't know. It's
Well,
crazy.
I'll drop down. I just had a few questions for you.
Okay, well, thank you for
Well,
coming
I
up.
appreciate you talking to me. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
you're very welcome.
I'm not trying to hog your time, but
Yeah, like White Widow Baby said, anything to stroke his ego, he likes.
yes, absolutely. And he has a whole nother year and a half to get his
Mm-hmm.
ego stroked before the trial even starts. It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's, you know, once the trial's over with and he's convicted and he goes straight on to prison, then he gets turned out of solitary confinement in with all the rest of the inmates. And so,
Yeah. And he's
yeah.
gonna have all these women writing to him, and he's
Mhm.
gonna have like 10 authors at his
Oh yeah.
his
But
doorstep. Hey, I'll write your book.
I think honestly, I think that's what he's probably got in his head, but I don't think he's going to let anybody else write the book for him. Because that's another control issue. He wants to tell his own story.
Right.
Now he may get them to help him publish the book, which honestly I don't think that he should be able to make any type of money off of this. And if it comes down to it, and they're like, well, you know, you can't publish a book and you can't make the money off of it. I don't know then if he would allow somebody else to write the book about him. You know.
Yeah.
But I do think that once he gets turned out with those other inmates, unless he does go to death row, you know, because he gets the death penalty. But if he just gets life in prison and he gets turned out with all these other inmates, I think he's going to have a rude awakening, because there's going to be people in there who more than likely are probably smarter than him, tougher than him, and are not going to put up with his shit.
Right. And if he's in a prison in the state of Idaho, you know, they're going to have some kind of feeling about what happened in their state, because they obviously, all those inmates obviously know about this case.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if they allow prisoners to watch the news like that, but you know that there's prisoners in there that's gotten letters about it from their family, or you know, visitation families told them about it, phone calls. It's like somebody in there knows, and you know, when one inmate knows it, by the end of the day, half the jail knows it, because they talk in there, and so they're going to know exactly who he is when he comes in that prison.
Yeah, I don't even want to say what I hope they do to him, but
yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about.
Innocent until proven guilty. Whatever.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night. Thanks for talking. I appreciate it. And,
all right, you're welcome, and thanks for coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good night. Talk to you
All
soon.
Right. Okay, thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, let me jump onto this video, the second one that we have. Okay, there's some guy trying to write a book. Wait, King Scarlet, there's a guy now that's trying to write a book on this? And Sharon, I think once he gets to prison, after he's convicted, no, I don't think they're going to isolate him. Unless he's on death row. I think they're one-man cells, 23 hours a day lockdown. But if he just gets life, yeah, I don't think they're going to isolate him. Pin Dizzy, have a wonderful night. I mean, me personally, I think he deserves every damn thing that he gets coming to him, honestly. But, you know, we do have to wait and let the legal process go through. Give him his fair trial. And just, I mean, as hard as it's going to be, we're going to have to wait it out. Okay, one thing is for sure, if he gets what's coming to him from another inmate, it most likely won't be from stabbing. Yeah, because I also saw your other comment about that whenever he gets into that prison, He's more than likely going to be in there with someone who could possibly be kin to one of these victims. Or just not, maybe not even just one of the victims, but just a friend of the victim. You know, somebody in there is going to be, or possibly could be related to him. But, you know, if they come out and they have evidence to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he did this, and there's no doubt placed in the jury's mind that he did this and they convict him, I hope the jury gives him the death penalty. I know that he has a right to his appeals, and I know that he would be sitting on death row for years, but I hope that's what he gets. I think that when that happens, then the true justice will be served, and these kids will get their justice, and their families will too. So let me grab this other video because, like I said, this is sort of like the one that we had watched earlier. Okay. It always starts playing when I don't want it to. Okay, 1 second. Let me get it pulled up for y'all. Katie Bug, how are you? Hey, Happy Cactus. And Happy Cactus, I'm trying to figure out who you were before you become Happy Cactus. Wouldn't want to piss Dylan's dad off. I saw a picture. Dylan's dad's a pretty big dude too. I mean, he may hurt Bryan. Honestly. I think he'll unalive himself and convicted. I don't. I mean, Karma, it's a possibility that he might do that. I just don't see him doing it though. I think he's too narcissistic to do it. But then again, there comes that control issue. Oh, you were Wolfpack. Okay. There comes the control issue that he would rather do it himself than to let someone else do it. But I think he's too narcissistic to do that. Mama 3 boys, how are you? Wait, you love the way I said what, Collins? About him getting the death penalty? Is that what you're talking about? Howard Blumka wrote part 1 and part 2. I thought it was eventually going to be a book. Now, I don't know if I'll get a chance to reading any of it tonight. It's like a super. Oh, he may hurt Bryan. Okay. There is a super long Vanity Fair article, and it's part 1. If I don't get a chance to read it, like I said, it's super long, but it's talking about each one of the kids' lives and what they were like and stuff like that. I can drop the link in the chat for y'all. So I'll have to see how much time I got. But if not, like I said, I'll drop in the chat the link in the chat if anybody wants to read it. I don't know when part 2 is going to come out. Part 1 just came out today, but it's a really good read. There's some things they say in there I don't really like, but other than that, it's a good read because it's telling what kind of people these kids were. All right, so let me play the second video for y'all.
I can tell you that we have 3 different sources where we have put that information together. We reached out to Washington State University. They won't comment on it. It is incredibly quiet and tight-lipped at Washington State University, not just in the administrative side, but also among the students. And that's why I want to bring in our Bryan Enton, who's our senior national correspondent at News Nation. All of this is quite surprising. You know, here we are months after the murders, Bryan, and this information is coming out, and it is very, very hard to get official acknowledgement of this from Washington State University.
It is, Ashley, and this is very interesting what you have uncovered, because I'm thinking back to when I was in the building there, where you just saw the video where Bryan Kohberger was teaching, was also a student, a PhD student, criminal justice there at Washington State University. And the first thing I noticed when I was wandering around all of the hallways on multiple floors is on the bulletin boards, they had all of the teacher assistants, the TAs, and the professors listed in many different places, and his name didn't appear anywhere. I initially thought, okay, they went through after the arrest and they got his name off of everything in this building. But now I'm wondering, with this new information you're reporting, did they take his name down much earlier because he was in fact fired?
Well, it's pretty fascinating because if you think about the dates, December 22nd, if he's withdrawn from the data system in that university, he still hasn't been arrested until December 30th, that Friday night. And we are also told that it was official. His official termination actually happened at the very end of that month. He was told, you're finished. You're not going to be a TA in the spring session. I'm not sure about the winter session, but it, the word has it that it was the 30th, that it was completely over, and that just, that ends up being the same day that he was arrested. What I'm curious about is why the students are so quiet about this. I understand the staff. They work for WSU. They have to toe the line if WSU doesn't want them speaking, but students don't work for the school. They can talk if they want to, and yet they haven't.
They've talked a little bit, Ashley. They don't want to go on camera when we've been on campus in the past, but they have spoken a little. From what we've gathered, he was a TA of both Criminal Justice 101 and criminal law. We heard from several students along the way that he gave off weird vibes, that he got a creepy feeling from him. We also heard something that matched up with your new reporting tonight, that he was a hard grader. That at one point, actually, there was such an issue with the way that he was grading papers that a higher level professor had to come in and get involved at one point.
Bryan, I remember when that original reporting broke, but I never remember anyone delineating between the grading being tougher on the women than on the men, just that he was very hard on the students. But not only are we hearing that he was grading women differently, but also that he was rude to women and that he, quote, had a sexist attitude towards women among his multiple behavioral problems.
Yeah, that is new. I haven't heard it to that extent. We did hear a little bit about possibly some sexism. We also heard, if you don't remember, Ashley, about there was an issue. He maybe had an issue with like a pride flag on a door in one of the school buildings there. But in terms of it going to the level with your new reporting tonight, to the point where he was actually fired, and there were so many issues that he was actually fired as a TA, that's brand new.
So, Bryan, I'm just looking over this timeline again, and it's pretty astounding because he only started as a TA at the end of August. But the problem started right away on September 23rd. Look at this timeline. There are just mere sometimes days and short weeks in between each issue. But the very first thing started within a month, a fight with his professor. And then letters saying, you've got to be, up on your professional behavior. You're not meeting the expectations. We need an improvement plan. We got to meet about the improvement plan. And another fight, like 2 fights with the professor, all in the course of a couple of months, all the while hearing, like not in this timeline, but hearing these reports of being sexist and rude to women and being troublesome in the grading department. So what's curious is if Kohberger's program was tied to his teaching job. And not only that, he had an on-campus office and he had an on-campus apartment. And it's possible that those things were tied to his teaching job as well. So is it possible, Bryan, that his whole life was about to collapse because he was he was fired, but he knew that was coming, or at least he should have known it might have been coming. And he might have lost his program and his accommodations on campus.
It's a very big possibility. Let's go back and think to the fact that his dad came out to drive with him back to Pennsylvania. A lot of people questioned that. Why would the dad fly all the way over there to drive the car all the way back just for a Christmas break? Why wouldn't he just fly back? Would it even maybe be cheaper? Was there more going on behind the scenes now that we know all of this?
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation.
Okay, so I'm curious. If his dad flew all the way out there to drive back with him, I wonder if Bryan, after he gets fired and everything, he's committed these murders. He knows that the police are looking for who did this. I wonder if he had any intentions on going back to the apartment. I know he left some stuff there, but I wonder if he had any intentions on going back. Jessica Lynn, he actually switched the tags 5 days after. Now, I don't think the dad put the car in his name before they went back, but he did switch from Pennsylvania plates to Washington plates 5 days after the murders. Karma Reflection, you have a good night. See, I was thinking he would tell them once he was home he wasn't going back and didn't tell Dad on the way home yet. Yeah, the tags were done November the 18th. He went to the DMV, got his registration tags and everything switched over from Pennsylvania to Washington, and it was said probably because the tags actually ran out on November the 30th, and he knew that they were supposed to be driving back in December and didn't want to drive back with expired tags. And yeah, he did get them done a few days before his birthday as well. See, apartment had minimal stuff. I think he was going to abandon stuff. I'm wondering, Encyclopedia, if that's what he was planning on doing. I don't know if he would have been able to get into another PhD program at another college based off of, what he had going on at WSU, but possibly, I don't know if he'd even went back to school. I mean, it kind of makes you think that maybe he moved out to Washington just to commit a crime like he did. And then had intentions on going back. I mean, it's crazy. Like, this dude just went to school all these years. He graduated high school. He's got degrees in all these different things. He gets into a PhD program. He's super ass smart. Like, he completely just, weird or not, or having weird tendencies. He's antisocial, whatever it may be. He was super smart. He could have gotten a really good job if he would have finished the PhD program. And he blew all that. For whatever reason, he blew it all. Okay, tags ran out, but he committed the crimes before switching tags. Pennsylvania requires back tags only. Idaho requires front and back. Ellie was looking for a vehicle without front tags, right? See, I think he planned it ahead of going out there, picked his target upon arrival. I wish the girls who said that they seen him on campus several times at the Student Union building on the University of Idaho campus, I wish that they would have been able to give the dates that they seen him there. Well, idea, book smart. I mean, he's very book smart. He has no damn common sense, but he is book smart. All right, let me grab this last video because I do have the other video that I was telling y'all about sitting in my email now. So I want to grab this other one. Oh shit, accidentally exited off my email. He has a high IQ and is book smart but has no common sense, which is more important in life. Yeah. Honestly, if you don't have any common sense or street smarts or anything, you're not gonna, uh, you won't make it in the world, honestly. It's good to have a little bit of all three: common sense, street smarts, and book sense. You have book sense and you get a good job and something happens and you can't get another job and you have no common sense or street smarts, you're not going to make it. Okay, what did his grades look like in high school? It's easy to look smart when you are studying a subject you are drawn to. I don't know. They never have said what his grades were while he was in high school or any part of, elementary school, middle school, junior high, or high school. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Um, Che, I got your email, and I'll share that link as well. Let me grab it real quick while I've got the email open, and I'm going to pull up this other video. Here is a link that a friend of one of the victims' family, she has made hoodies in remembrance of them. So if y'all want to go check that out as well. And Che, thank you so much for sending that. All right, let me go grab this other video now. All right, so I got this video, and then I'm going to move over to the one about, holy crap, that was loud. The video about the police out in Pennsylvania and what they're planning on doing. Wasn't there a report that BK had flight booked for South America? Tad, I don't know if there was a report out on it, but there was word going around that if he wouldn't have been arrested on December the 30th, that the next day he was supposed to be leaving out going to South America. I did hear that. But I don't know if he had it, his flight booked and all that. All right. Okay, he did get the dean's list in 2018 at Northampton Community College, studying psych, minimum of 6 credits, and achieved at least 3.5 grade point average on a 4.0 scale. And okay, so that was the spring of 2018. Okay, thank you for that, Alley Cats. All right, let me grab this one, get it pulled up for y'all. Y'all, my sinuses and allergies are just acting up so bad tonight. My God. NYC, that's what I'm thinking. Either he knew that they were on to him, maybe the 2 stops in Indiana on the way home spooked him, and he thought maybe, that was orchestrated. And maybe he felt like he needed to get out of the country to keep them from arresting him. Now whether he was going to a country, I don't know exactly what all countries in South America, have an extradition treaty with the U.S., but he very well could have went to South America and then jumped on a plane from there and went to a country that did. And no, it's not verified, Mom Bear. It was just, it was something that was, I don't know who even came out with it. It might have been a report on it, or where they even got that information from, but just that he was supposed to be leaving the country the next day. Okay. All right, so let me get this one playing for y'all. This one's almost like 5 minutes long, so. All right.
Professor, he's the author of the best-selling book, Why We Love Serial Killers. the curious appeal of the world's most savage murderers. Dr. Bond, you probably just heard the breaking news that we just reported on all of these conflagrations that Bryan Kohberger seemed to have been having with his professors, with his students, and with other people among the staff, to the point where he was cut loose. He was fired from Washington State University from his teaching job. I just wanted to get your initial reactions to sort of that behavioral profile as you look at then now what he's accused of.
Well, absolutely. And first of all, thank you for having me on this evening. And I wanted to say, I was thinking about this myself. I was a TA. When I was getting my PhD at the University of Miami, I was a TA, and that TA position was tied to my funding, my assistantship that paid for my entire education. So that is not something you want to lose. You do not want to risk losing something like that. And the fact that it escalated so quick and that he was terminated in his first semester there would suggest to me that his behavior really was egregious, that it was something that had become a big problem for the department and the university. And so I wanted to just give that as a little bit of background. But to the extent that that this letter, which I don't believe the letter has been completely authenticated yet, but if it is in fact true and the timeline is true, then this is something that could have absolutely contributed to him reaching a tipping point in his rage and anger and leading him to strike out in this terrible murder situation.
Yeah, we don't have our hands on the letter yet, but we've had the essence of it authenticated by a source close to the investigation, and that's the next best thing without actually getting your hands on a copy of the termination letter. And obviously, you know, when it comes to those kinds of, you know, staff and policy, you know, obviously administrative staff policies, employment records are pretty private. It's hard to get your hands on those things. But I'm curious about, yeah, you know, I was so curious when you said that for you, the teaching assistant job was tied to the actual program. And I'm guessing that that's not a far stretch to suggest the accommodations that were on campus as well might have been part of that too. So there could have been a lot of stress. What I can't understand is the utter bravado that it would take if all of that was on the line and you're getting warning after warning and a helping hand to try to work through your problems. What kind of personality do you think this is that would literally thumb his nose at the authority that hold his future in their hands?
Great question. And this crime that he committed is actually a mass murder, but I've been saying for some time now that the more that we learn about him, his development and his progression seems more similar to a serial killer, and I've studied serial killers extensively for some time, and so this didn't just happen, Ashley. I think that he was evolving, developing, over a period of time, and he reached a tipping point where he simply couldn't take it anymore, and he had to act out on his fantasy of killing. And so something like this, where the rug had been pulled out from under him, his funding, his home, as you said, which I do believe was probably tied to his assistantship and his TA position, it could have just pushed him over the edge to the point that he had to act out. And because the escalation was already there. As you said, he was in trouble by September. By October, the murders took place in November, but he already knew that he was in deep trouble by then.
Well, he still has the presumption of innocence, and these are allegations against him until they're proven in a court of law. So at this point, he is an accused quadruple murderer. I'm still just so astounded by the sexism and the allegations that he was grading the women differently than the men, and that to me would be a big, you know, red flag for those teachers, or should have been, and perhaps they did catch it very quickly as they started right in September. Can't thank you enough. So it's just so enlightening, Dr. Bond. Thank you, appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a good evening.
Well, damn, he said that he was evolving and developing into an SK, and the firing was basically the tipping point. Makes sense. That's why he did what he did. Possibly. Could have been other reasons as well, though. But that's crazy. Okay, let me grab my next thing here. They knew he was a suspect already in mob guess and avoided the bad PR by doing so. I mean, maybe they knew that. Oh, shit, hold on. Maybe they just knew that something just wasn't right with him. No, the firing was before he got the letter on October the 19th. So I mean, he very easily could have done this crime to these 4 kids and moved on, had his cool down period, and then moved on to another one, hurt other people. Okay. Let's see. I hope the faculty at WSU sent an online professor emails asking her what the fuck was she thinking of recommending him. I'm Mom Bear. He was fired from his teaching assistant job at the college. It was in the first video I'd played. He had a lot of problems with the female students. They said that he had a sexist attitude towards women there. He was rude to women. He graded the women's stuff different than he did men's stuff. He had, 2 altercations with his professor. That was starting in September the 23rd. Let's see. And I try to write these dates down as quick as I could when she was telling them earlier. But then October the 3rd, he had to have a discussion with the professors for his behavior. October the 12th, he failed to meet the expectations. Like they wanted him to change the way he was doing, the way he was acting, the way he was treating people. He failed to meet those expectations. November the 2nd, they had another meeting to discuss an improvement plan. Yeah, and I just clearly spelled improvement wrong on my paper. October the 7th, there was a meeting with the professors about his improvement plan. October the 9th, he had another altercation with the professor, and then October the 19th, he was fired by WSU. So it was 6 altogether that they put out tonight. 6 different issues that they had before they ended up firing. Not to mention just being rude to people and the way he was grading stuff and stuff like that. Okay, he was still attending his classes. So yes, he still had his classes. He actually finished out the semester before he went home. What happened on December the 19th? December the 19th, he was already on. Well, no, he was already back in Pennsylvania by then. October. Did I say December the 19th? I meant October the 19th is when he was fired by WSU. And they're saying, News Nation is saying they're supposed to be getting the letter where he was fired, but it has been authenticated by someone like a close source. So hopefully they'll get the letter and be able to put that out. Okay, anyone consider all this type of info comes out and we're allowed to speculate, yet 911 calls don't come out. Hopefully, though, because like I had said earlier, not the Whitcomb Center. Yes, he was fired October the 19th from his teaching assistant job. But hopefully the Whitcomb, they will find something out as far as the 911 calls are concerned, because they're wanting to know if they can release them to the people who's already sent out the public information request. Let's see. I wonder how his father treated women. Miss Honeypenny, that's a good question. I wonder like what the car ride home, like 2,300 miles in a car. Like, I wonder if he ever brought it up to his dad, or if his dad ever asked him about it. Like, did you hear about those 4 college students that was killed over in Idaho? Like, that's not very far from you. I wonder if anything like that was ever brought up. Okay, but I do have a question. Okay, so they said he was fired on October the 19th, but didn't they say that did he finish out the teaching assistant job to the end of the semester? Is that what they said? I think he was fired in December. Okay, I'll have to go back and watch it. Because I was trying to write it all down and then write beside of the date like what they did. So I might have heard it wrong. It might have been December the 19th. I mean, yeah, December the 19th. I have to go back and listen to it because I was just wondering if that's the case and he got fired before the murders happened, then how was those students doing the interview? So it was December. Okay, thank you, James. Because I was wondering, there was some of his students that said that his gradings, like how he graded, changed after the murders. All right, so I wrote that completely wrong. Okay, so let me update my notes real quick. All right. Okay, 1 second. Hey, Zara, how are you? All right, let me go back there and make sure I haven't missed anybody coming in. Eliza, how are you? I don't think I have. And if I have, I do apologize. Tad, it was actually nice today. It was like almost 80 degrees. But now tomorrow's supposed to storm. So done with it. How are you? All right, let me get this pulled up for y'all. Now, this is a video I was waiting to come out. It says, is his name out there? Authorities search unsolved cases for links to the Idaho murder suspect. It's supposed to be storming here tomorrow. So I'm hoping it doesn't do bad. See, storming here all day. James, we'll be getting tomorrow what you're getting right now. Okay. All right, I got it pulled up here. All right.
We're in eastern Pennsylvania. Bryan Kohberger spent his teenage years and most of his adult life here. That includes stints at 2 local colleges, including DeSales. Now, police and prosecutors in this area want to know what he was up to all those years and are digging into their cold case files. Just outside the open wilderness and resort towns of the Pocono Mountains lies a neighborhood called the Birches.
It's just a very quiet community.
These are the streets an accused killer once roamed as a teenager.
I've definitely seen it on TV. Who hasn't?
Now, Lynn Klein and others in the Pennsylvania communities where Bryan Kohberger lived until last year want to know if he could have committed any crimes before he was charged with the murders at the University of Idaho.
Because anybody or any family that's been harmed or done wrong to deserves to know the truth.
It isn't just citizens. Police and prosecutors have asked the same question.
Your natural reaction is to start wondering, okay, is this guy wanted? Is his name out there? Did he do anything here in Northampton County? Terry Houck.
Terrence Houck is district attorney of Northampton County and leads an office of more than 20 prosecutors and a half dozen detectives. It's here at Northampton Community College where Bryan Kohberger took his first courses in higher education, graduating here in 2018. After Kohberger's arrest for the Idaho murders, Northampton County's district attorney ordered a review of unsolved cases in his county.
We have a crime information center that compiles information of people's description, size, weight, height, method of operation, things of that nature.
Obviously, you wonder whether or not there was any criminality that he committed here in Lehigh County or in the environs.
Jim Martin, district attorney of the neighboring county, Lehigh, also ordered a review of unsolved cases. Lehigh County is home to DeSales University, which Kohberger attended after Northampton Community College. He spent 4 years here studying criminal justice.
Bryan Kohberger.
Earning a master's degree last summer. What does law enforcement do given that he did spend time here?
Well, we have a resource here called the Regional Intelligence and Investigation Center. It's the first thing I did was I asked the director of the RIC, as we call it, to see if we had any contact with Mr. Kohberger.
A data search of more than 6 million police incident reports in Pennsylvania turned up only one record with Kohberger's name. He called police from this bike trail one night to report that his car was locked behind a park gate.
There was a response from him thanking the police and apologizing for the inconvenience.
The district attorney in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, where Kohberger grew up and where a SWAT team arrested him on December 30th, did not respond to our questions. But in Northampton and Lehigh counties, both district attorneys say their investigations have found no links to Kohberger and any unsolved cases.
So we have no unsolved homicides that in any way meet the modus operandi of this event out in Idaho.
There was nothing been brought to my attention. In fact, nothing with respect to Kohberger has come about in our investigations of cold cases or unsolved cases to this point.
And that should be some relief to a community that's been stunned and saddened by the murders of 4 college students 2,500 miles away.
It's a little close to home. You just don't expect it.
So prosecutors say the bottom line is there's no evidence that Kohberger committed any crimes here in Pennsylvania. In Center Valley, Pennsylvania, Chris Ingalls, King 5 News.
Okay. So he calls the police because his car is parked behind a lock gate. I don't think that's the only time he's ever had any type of dealings with police while in Pennsylvania. It's going to be something if it comes out in one of these counties are looking for something and they keep digging and they end up figuring out that he's connected to some unsolved mystery or crime that they have out there. Still thinking he's Ted Bundy reincarnated. That is crazy how much they look alike. It's more weird though. You have a guy like Ted Bundy who did all these bad things that he did. You have another guy that's all these years younger than him that is fascinated by stuff like that, ends up doing something like that and looks a lot like him. Like, if you were to take and just cover both of them from their eyes down and from their eyes up and just show the eyes, I wonder if you'd be able to tell them apart. Like, that is just crazy. Oh my God. That would explain why he couldn't sleep in the adrenaline to take down 4 people. Still so much. Okay, I'm just catching up. Shit. They said last night, Alice, when Ted was executed, 89. Bryan was born 94. I believe it was. Hey, seventh row, how are you? Let's see. Apparently, this is Doppelganger of BK on MILF Manor. Okay, so Bryan was born in 94. Okay. That is crazy, though. It's almost like Ted Bundy come back from the dead, and this is like another young version of him. It's crazy. Maybe Mom. King Scarlet. Yeah, but Ted Bundy was executed before he was even thought about. How would that happen? Yeah, Zara, I actually did. I did a little bit, not all night, but I did more than what I usually get. So, okay, the difference is Ted was in a couple of relationships and even had a daughter. Yes, I know he does have a daughter. I don't remember how old she is. I think she is older now, but his daughter doesn't come out and speak um, that she's his daughter. You know, I can't blame her because if I had a dad like that, I probably wouldn't want anybody knowing um, that my dad was like that. But then again, if you look at BTK's daughter, she comes out and she wants people to know like the stuff that she went through growing up and all that, which is like I get why she's doing that too. Let's see. He was in a long time relationship with a woman who had a daughter. I believe she was conceived while he was in prison. But yeah, I mean, if Bryan would have been born before Bundy was executed, or Bundy was executed after 94, after Bryan was born, I'd been like, yeah, Bryan's mama been slipping somewhere. But I don't think that's possible. Well, yeah, it is possible, but I don't think he did that. Okay, Ted was told his mom was his sister. I mean, is that true? Like, did his grandmother raise him? Okay, I know it. She's even got that little stuff. So he had a girlfriend who had a daughter. But I thought somebody said that he had a child that was conceived while he was in jail. Okay, his mom was his sister and his dad was his grandpa. Okay, so grandparents raised him. Okay. All right. Let me get rid of this. Hold on, y'all. Let me empty out this stuff out of my email. Okay. Okay, he had a child while in prison. I do remember seeing that he had a daughter. I want to say she's older now, like an older lady. I don't remember what her name is, though, but I know that I had read when I was reading an article about her that she doesn't even come out and talk about him or anything like that. Okay, so he has a blood daughter, was conceived by a conjugal visit. He dated a woman previously with a daughter and treated her well. Okay. Is that her name? Ann Carroll? That could be it. I remember reading about her, though, several months back. But I never knew that his grandparents raised him and raised his bio mom as his sister and stuff like that. That's interesting. Daughter's name is Rose. I don't know if that's her name. I just remember her being an older lady. All right. I think this is my last video for tonight. But there was something that was brought up about the police getting the trash out of the neighbor's trash can. And someone had asked, did police need to have a warrant in order to do that? And this video is explaining, no, that they didn't need a warrant and the reason why they didn't. Okay, so Rose Bundy, born in 1882, so she's 40. Okay. Thank you, Angie. All right. Holy crap, this is loud when it starts playing, y'all. I'm going to have to start muting so I can't hear it. Hey, Nora, how are you? All right, 1 second, y'all. Other big difference is Ted and enjoyed fighting, not like BK. Yeah, Ted Bundy was another. He was book smart, but just another weird cookie. Okay, she goes by a different name now and lives in Washington. Okay. Might have eventually killed his girlfriend if he hadn't been caught. He didn't have any real love for anyone. That is sad, though, Mom Bear. Like, you're living with this man or you're with this man and, like, he's a serial killer and could have easily killed you too. Like, that's crazy to think about. Nora, I'm good, thank you. Okay, so isn't it true that when the garbage is out in the can is public property? Happy Cactus, yes, that is true. And they explain all of that here in this video. Okay, let's go ahead and get this one started.
This comes as a man accused of killing the 4 University of Idaho students awaits for his next court hearing. Viewers have reached out to the Creme 2 Verify team to ask about evidence gathered in the case. They want to know if police need a search warrant to search through your trash while looking for evidence. Let's verify. The question comes from Joan. She asks, it's become known in the Kohberger case that the police went through the trash to get DNA evidence. Do the police need a warrant to do that? Let's dive in. Our sources to verify this are the U.S. Constitution, the 1988 Supreme Court case California v. Greenwood, and Wayne Unger, a visiting professor of law at Gonzaga University.
Here I teach constitutional law and data privacy law, as well as the First Amendment. My research covers the Fourth Amendment, which is relevant to this particular question that you bring.
Viewer Jones' question comes from the details in the Kohberger case laid out in the probable cause affidavit that police in Pennsylvania searched through the trash can outside of Kohberger's parents' home, where they say they obtained DNA evidence used to link him to the crime scene in Moscow.
When do police or investigators need a warrant to search through your trash?
The Supreme Court has ruled in a case called California v. Greenwood back in 1988 that a warrant is not required at all to search through somebody's trash, assuming that that trash has been put out for pickup.
The Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable search and seizure by the government, in this case, the police. In California v. Greenwood, the Supreme Court determined the trash left for pickup outside your home isn't protected by the Fourth Amendment, but police must also consider what their state constitution says on the matter.
Pennsylvania and Idaho, the two states involved in this particular case, they do not have anything above and beyond the Supreme Court's consideration of no warrant. So in other words, law enforcement in Pennsylvania and Idaho can generally search your trash so long as it's been put outside.
The location is key here. If your trash is left for pickup outside your home, police generally don't need a warrant. If your trash is inside your home or garage, then police do need a warrant. That brings us back to the Kohberger case.
Law enforcement in this particular case in Pennsylvania acted lawfully and constitutionally when it collected the DNA from the parents' trash can.
So we can verify that police do not need a warrant to search your trash so long as it's outside your home, unless the state constitution where that search takes place states otherwise. If you have something you'd like me to verify, send me an email at verify@creme.com.
Okay. So I just wanted to play that to verify, just in case anyone had questions about it, because I did see it was brought up by several different people in some other chats and other videos and stuff like that in their comments. So I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, let me see what I've got next. I'm trying to get through all of my stuff. Let's see. Send an email of the firing timeline if you want to show. Thank you, Allie. Let me jump over to that real quick. Okay. And I'm curious to know if Bryan asked about that. About, if they had to have a search warrant for the trash. Okay, BK put the garbage out on a day for pickup, which makes it worse. He thought would be King Scarlet. That's what it was. Me and Gregory was talking about that last night. I bet you he's regretting that early morning trash takeout. They said that he took the trash out. It was like super early in the morning. They were watching him. He took it and put it in his neighbor's can. I bet you he's regretting that. Like, the trash is what ended up getting him. Well, one of the things I'm sure that led to him being arrested. Princess, how are you? Okay, I'm downloading the timeline now where it says that he was fired. I actually had 2 of these wrong. Oh, y'all, I know what I did. I put November the 12th, and then when I went to the one on December the 7th, I put it as October. I put a 10 instead of a 12. That's where I messed up, y'all. See, wasn't the trash found only linked to his father's DNA? Yes, Sudi, it was. And whenever they ran it through whatever it is that they run it through, they said that it came back as the DNA that they found on the knife sheath is that person's bio father. Okay, to this point, the trash was what the cause of his arrest. I know, y'all. It's gonna be crazy if if it comes out that that's the only thing that got him. Is that early morning trash takeout? That's gonna be crazy. What am I looking for? Oh, okay. And y'all, I think Zara is behind. On the video. I see she's talking about the fire sticks. Okay. All right, I'm about to pull the screenshot up. Justine, how are you? Okay, so she's watching from the beginning. Okay. All right. This pulled up here. All right. Oh my God, this shit is the bottom. Okay, so let me get this pulled up on my phone real quick so I can make sure it's up on the screen. Because I can't tell if y'all can see it. 1 second. Okay, I'm about to say good night, everyone. Jesse Cats, have a wonderful night. Okay, so it's up there. All right, so alleged job termination timeline of Kohberger. So that's where I messed up. I did do November, I just put 11/2. But then when I went to December the 7th, I put 10/7. That's where I messed it up at. So September the 23rd, he had the altercation with a professor. That was their first issue. October the 3rd, meeting to discuss professional behavior. October the 21st, received email about failure to meet expectations. He probably, if the truth was known, he didn't like the fact that they were bossing him around and trying to tell him how to do things or how to do his job or how to treat people. Once again, that comes into a whole control issue. Let's see. November the 2nd, meeting to discuss improvement plan. December the 7th, meeting to discuss improvement plan progress. December 9th, second altercation with the professor. And then he was officially terminated on December the 19th. So they had the meeting to discuss the improvement plan on the 2nd of November. Then he commits the crime. And then they had to have another meeting to discuss the improvement plan progress on the 7th of December after the murders. Hey, Callie, how are you? Okay. Note that the DNA belongs to the father, yet he was cleaning his car and they didn't locate his DNA. I don't know. I'll be glad whenever they're able to release the search warrant in Pennsylvania. They said it was sealed for 60 days. So the end of February, 1st of March, it should be unsealed. Okay. But yeah, I do apologize when I was saying October the 19th earlier. I had that completely wrong. Okay, I'm an HR director, and you can't just leak this kind of stuff. Curious if it's actually proven as true or just random story. Crime Solver, I don't know. She's saying that it's from a very close source and that they haven't officially seen or they don't have the letter that was sent to him saying that he was fired, but Ashley was saying that the letter has been authenticated and that they're trying to get their hands on the letter. So hopefully, if all of this is true, then they'll be able to get their hands on the letter. And that, they'll be able to come out and show it and all that. See, I wonder if it will turn out to be true. And sure if written in HR lingo, though. No, I'm curious. But just the things that they were saying as far as he had a sexist attitude towards women, he was rude to women, and he graded women's work different than the men's work. It goes back to how he treated the women out in Pennsylvania at the bar. How we've heard already, how he treated women. Now, if this isn't true, then whoever is giving News Nation this information very well just could have already heard that just like we've heard it and made up the whole thing and just put it off he has an issue towards women, which doesn't surprise me though. All right, Web Sleuth missed a clue. Anyone ever been pulled over by LA 2 times and they say, hey, where are you going? Where are you coming from? Let's see your license. Okay, no dispatch confirmation, trace DNA from the DL. Yeah. They never even, neither one of those officers called in his license. Usually they pull you over, they grab your license, they go back to their vehicle, they call it in, they see if the person has any warrants, and all that. They didn't even do all that. They didn't even verify. They could have ran the plates and it came back as in his name, and then they'll look at his license, but it still seems like they would have took his license and try to confirm some stuff, and they never did. It's crazy. All right, so whenever I fire someone, I know the rest of the day is shot, which is the gossip trail in the office, no work done. Okay, this news about him being fired is crazy. Gives a whole new perspective to him and the situation. Unbelievable. Yeah. Che, I think they did too, but they're denying it. So who was it? I want to say Jennifer Coffendorfer was the one that said that she had set stuff up like that before when she was an agent. Getting like the local police to pull people over and stuff like that or initiate a stop. Um, so it's not nothing, it's nothing uncommon. But FBI is denying it, just like they're denying that they lost him for 14 hours when he left Washington on his way back to Pennsylvania. So, I don't know if they're just trying to keep that to themselves and not letting that out or what. Hold on just a second, y'all. All right, y'all, I'm going to drop the link. Anybody wants to come up and discuss this, you're more than welcome to. The cops knew who he was. They pulled him over twice. Actually, Kevin, it wasn't in less than 10 minutes. They pulled him over the first time at 10 something that morning, and then the second time was like 3 something that afternoon. On both of the videos, it has the time on it up in the top corner. Okay, are we sure that we saw the entire video of the officers pulling him over? I mean, they very well could have edited it, but it does show from the time they get out of the car till they let him go. But I mean, it's a possibility they could have edited it down too. Oh, they do. I don't know. I've never been. I've been pulled over. I've never gotten a ticket, but I'm not going to give a police officer my phone number. They, if they're pulling you over to give you a ticket, they have no reason to need your phone number. Okay, yes, Indiana does have 2 time zones, but it still wasn't within 10 minutes. Okay, let me... Oh, wait, let me see what this is I've got in my email. Officer acting like, oh, someone already stopped you for this. Okay, sorry. But I have seen, and this has been like, just on cop shows and shit like that, where they'll pull you over for something, but they may not give you a ticket, but they may give you some type of paper saying that you were pulled over in case you're pulled over again. I don't know if they would do that in an instance for tailgating or anything like that, but I thought that was kind of weird too. Let me see what this is real quick. There was another article that I wanted to read. Let me see if this is the one, because there's one about an expert that I read earlier. Let's see. This is the one about John Kelly. I think this may be it, where he's talking about the knife sheath that was left. That's a good question, Jay. Okay, let me get this pulled up. I don't know. I think that they were just pulling him over. I don't know why they would have done it the second time, unless they might have lost him again. After Kevin, don't come in here getting an attitude with me, please. I've got the facts. I've seen both videos. I've seen the times at the top corner of the videos. One was at 10 something in the morning. The other one was at 3 something in the afternoon. It was not within 10 minutes. So maybe you need to get your facts straight. But anyway, it makes sense if they ask them to pull him over the first time. But what was the reason of pulling him over the second time? Was it because they lost him in between somewhere and they needed to make sure that he didn't stop, maybe pull over somewhere, pick someone up, pick something up? So I'm wondering if that's the reason for the second stop. And White Widow Baby, do you or Crime Crazy, either one, have screenshots with the times on them from those body cam footages of when he was pulled over both times? Yeah, he had to go get Thai food. What was it they said? Where are you coming? What? How did they say it? Where are you going? And, oh, to get Thai food. It's crazy. Okay, can y'all send them to me, please, just so I can put them up here to prove a point that I do have my facts straight? All right, so this one says, how does a criminology student leave a crime scene with blood dripping knife? All right, so it says the Idaho student murder suspect may have forgotten the K-bar knife sheath found in the bed with two of the 4 victims, and it may have been planted there in an effort to mislead investigators, according to a criminal profiler who has been following the case. If you took a pistol out of your holster, wouldn't you put it back in? Said John Kelly, a psychotherapist with experience in interviewing serial killers, in an interview with Fox News Digital. I don't know anybody who wouldn't, and if I went fishing and had to take my knife out, I would put it back in the sheath. It's a reflective action, he said, adding that a vegan-like murder suspect, Bryan Kohberger, likely put the knife away somewhere in order to keep the blood from contaminating his clothes or vehicle. You're such a clean vegan who's obsessive-compulsive about what you eat and everything else. Just the hygiene of carrying a bloody knife around, wearing it somewhere on your person as you get out of the house, he said. And this is another one of these things that's got so many pictures on it, y'all. All right, so the answer may hinge on what a surviving housemate, the only eyewitness, saw that night. A police affidavit states that she heard noises, including whimpering and crying, and then saw a masked man with bushy eyebrows leaving through a sliding door. It makes no mention of seeing an intruder carrying a weapon. And y'all, if them eyebrows is what gets him, if the eyebrows get him convicted, can y'all just imagine the names that this dude is going to have when he goes to prison? So it says, the girl didn't say anything about seeing a knife, Kelly said. Did he put it in his clothes somewhere and have blood all over? Kelly said the sheath may have been left intentionally after being wiped clean of fingerprints, but not thoroughly enough to remove the touch DNA evidence the police found on the strap. The attacker could have put the knife in a different sheath or some other sealed container and left the USMC stamped sheath behind in an effort to cast suspicion on someone with ties to the military. Okay, thank you, Crime Crazy. I'll get them pulled up once I'm done with this. All right, so he said that is staging 101, he continued. They're going to look at this, and they're going to think that it's a military guy that did this, some guy with some kind of training who lives up the road. However, police recovered DNA on the strap that they later said matched a familiar sample taken from the trash at Kohberger's parents' house 2,500 miles away in Pennsylvania. He may have thought that this was a perfect ruse. Again, he's no genius. His ruse and staging set him up to get him caught, Kelly said. If he had simply forgotten the knife, police may have found more DNA on the sheet along with fingerprints, Kelly said. As of a gag order on January the 3rd, police have not recovered the murder weapon. So if they've recovered it since then, we're not going to know about it. So they could have precipitated the question, who else did you arrest? Kelly continued, referencing a rumored statement that Kohberger made to police when they took him into custody on December the 30th. I think he had to believe that that was going to lead them to some direction with the sheath there. Kelly's hypothesis is not unreasonable, said Paul Morrow, a retired NYPD inspector who is also an attorney. And y'all, that look on his face in this picture. Hold on one second, y'all. Okay. All right, so the other side of that would be that he was mentally in an altered state, he told Fox News Digital. Kohberger, a criminal justice PhD student at WSU, is accused of entering a six-bedroom rental home near the University of Idaho campus just 7 miles away around 4 a.m. on November the 13th. Inside, police say he ambushed 4 students, some of whom had been sleeping, with a large knife. The following day, police found 21-year-old best friends Kaylee and Maddie dead in the bed on the 3rd floor. On the 2nd level, they found housemate Xana and her visiting boyfriend Ethan, and all 4 had been stabbed multiple times. Kohberger faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and a felony burglary charge, and he could face the death penalty if convicted. He's being held without bond and is due back in court on June the 26th. Judge Megan Marshall issued the initial gag order on January the 3rd, shortly after Kohberger's arrest, restricting comment from prosecutors, the defense, law enforcement, and other officials. So this dude is thinking that maybe he staged the thing and left the sheath on purpose. I mean, that could be it. Maybe he was trying to make law enforcement think that this was some military person. All right, let me grab these 2 real quick, y'all. These 2 pictures. All right, so this first one is December the 15th at 10:44. Okay. Let me put a... Let me name the picture so this file name is not valid. What the hell? Wouldn't let me name it 10:44 a.m. Okay, if he did plan it, then he thought he wiped all his fingerprints off. Yeah. And James, he did. He told me to Google it and get my facts straight. I'm fixing to show him my facts. All right, this one is same day, December the 15th at 15:50 in the afternoon. If you take 12 hours and you add and you count it up to 15, that's 3 more hours. That would make 3 o'clock, 3:50 in the afternoon. Apparently, Kevin doesn't like facts. I must have rattled his cage, y'all. Y'all know I love rattling people's cages. It's like my all-time favorite thing to do. Okay, I need to... No, we're just going to pull this up. All right, give me 1 second. All right. I wonder if whenever he sees this, if he's going to still dispute if it's facts or not. All right, y'all. Well, damn it. Let me get the picture pulled up here. Okay, Kevin, I know you're watching. Right up here in the top left corner. Wait, was he timed out or was he hidden? Either way, we know he's watching, y'all. because he wants to be right. And he thinks that I'm not going to have the facts. See, I didn't have to Google it because we already had it. But I'm going to zoom it in real good so Kevin can see it. Social Butterfly, he came in a minute ago and said that the two stops that they did with Bryan in Indiana were like 10 minutes apart. And whenever I told him that they were actually a couple of hours apart, he told me to Google it and get my facts straight. So I'm pulling up the proof that I have my facts straight. But I want to zoom it in real good, y'all, because I want to make sure that Kevin sees it. 12/15/2022. That would be December the 15th of 2022. That's 10:44. Military time, that would be 10:44 in the morning. Okay. If it was 10 minutes later, it would be 10:54. If it was 10 minutes before this one, it would be 10:34. Okay, so here's the second one. 12/15/2022. So that would be December the 15th. 15:50/16. So that would be 3:50 in the afternoon. So I think I have my facts right. I don't think Kevin does. I don't think Kevin's too good at this. Okay. I just had to prove a point, y'all. Maybe he'll go Google it, get his facts straight. Hey, Amethyst, how are you? Okay. He went and buried his head like an ostrich. It's clearly not 10 minutes apart, y'all. Seriously. Okay. All right. Let me... Cali, yeah. Mathing is hard. And even though it's military time, you just count to 12. 1 is 1,300 hours, 2 is 1,400 hours, and 3 would be 1,500 hours. It's not that hard to figure out. Okay, YouTube threatened to block me again because I said that Fauci, whatever guy, should rot in jail. Okay, let me get back into my email. Old timers, odd time to get Thai food. Silly Brown, what a suspect. I mean, why didn't he just say, I'm going home? Like, we're driving from Washington to Pennsylvania. Why couldn't he have just said that? All right. So I need to save these 2 emails just a second, y'all. Let me move these. So that way if I need them again, I will have them. This one can go. Okay. Change that makes them sound smart, you know, because people say Google knows everything. You go Google it and then you see, and like, we don't have screenshots from a video, you know. He didn't want the officer to know his actual destination. I don't know. I've been like, dude, you got Washington plates. Why are you in Indiana? Like, where are you coming from? All right. Let me see what this other thing is. let's see here. Hold on one second, y'all. I need to delete this stuff out as I'm going over it. I have one about Dylan. It's like 5 facts that you need to know. But everything that it states in the very beginning of this, we've done heard 1,000 times. I think that there is a part of this article, if this is the one I'm thinking about, where there is a lady that is speaking. No, I must not have the right article. Well, shit. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, the Krista. He had the Washington plates when he was pulled over. He actually changed the Pennsylvania plates to the Washington plates on November the 18th. So 5 days after the murders. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and post this link to Vanity Fair. I mean, I can start reading on it, but it's super long. So I'm going to post it if anybody wants to read it. There's the link. It just says the Idaho Murders, Part 1, How 4 College Kids Lived and Loved. And yeah, Social Butterfly. Like I said, I had the article, literally everything in it. It was 5 facts about her. They're telling about what she's saying that she's seen and heard that night and all that, and talking about her social media, how it's been deleted and everything. Kevin is just the male version of a Karen. No offense to anybody in here who has the name Karen, but y'all get what I'm saying. All right, let me see what else I got. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link. Brad, which comment are you talking about? Subtract 2 from the second digit, and easier way to tell your time. 1700 equals 5. For example, learned that from a friend a long time ago. Happy Cactus. What is that? Vanity Fair in the trash can. I don't like what they did with the Madonna thing. I didn't even read it, the Madonna thing. I did read most of this. Like I said, it's a long read, and I read most of it, and it's got some good stuff in there about the kids. Thank you, Crime Crazy. I'm trying to figure out why Happy Cactus is what the coordinates, like, what are these? What are these coordinates to? Okay, a lot of LE officers would let you go of the minimum offense, and you have already received a ticket within 48 hours. It's weird, though. He didn't even receive a ticket. Yeah, the Social Butterfly, that whole thing with Madonna, though, that was a little bit overboard. Like I said, I seen it being talked about. I didn't even read it. Okay, so Happy Cactus, are you still in here? I'm curious about the coordinates. Okay, don't they usually go to driver's side or door? Crime Solver, usually they do, but with it being on the interstate, that might have been why he went to the passenger side, so he's not close to the traffic. It's like every news outlet would be wrong. Still, if it's not UTC time like Idaho statesman. Social butterfly, I agree. Something's up. Hold on just a second, y'all. All right. Is that where we... Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, maybe a buried knife and clothes. Wait, Happy Cactus, where did you get these from? Hold on, I gotta go back. Where are they at? Here they are. Let me copy these. I want to know where these coordinates come from now. Okay, Happy Cactus, where did you get those coordinates from? They come off of 4chan? Okay. Commander, how are you? Hold on. Let me see something. Let me pull up Google Maps, y'all. I just want to look at something real quick. Oh, Crime Crazy, you done looked it up? Let's see where this brings us. Oh, wait, I put them in Google Maps and it comes up to Mill Valley, California? Is that the same place y'all are getting? Oh, 4chan, it was a riddle. Okay. Okay, I'm not getting a national monument. Oh, that is it? Okay. Because mine's just saying Mill Valley, California. It doesn't say anything about a monument or anything like that. All right. Okay, well, that is interesting. I don't know why mine's not coming up as a monument, but wait, what does it say? There's a something Woods Visitor Center. Oh, Happy Cactus got it from Facebook, y'all. Okay, so Happy Cactus, have you looked into these coordinates? Okay, at those coordinates, there is an X in logs on the ground. Okay. Well, I have emailed these to myself. I'm going to have to look into it. How far is this from? Oh, it's close to San Francisco, y'all. Get our Scooby-Doo van ready. That is weird. It is like super close to San Francisco. We know who was in San Francisco. Okay, yeah, that's the picture I got too whenever I pulled it up on Google Maps. That's what I was thinking, James. King Scarlet, hold on. I'll pull the maps up for you. Give me just a second. That way you can see the exact. It's north of San Francisco. All right, and I'm gonna drop the link while I'm doing this. If anybody would like to come up. Okay. Okay, so King Scarlet, can you see it right there? It's where the red pin is at. If I zoom in on the, it just goes to trees. See, it just goes. It could be anywhere in there. The pin is basically just marking, I'm sure, the natural forest or park or whatever that is. Kind of weird though how close it is to San Francisco, and that's where Creepy Neighbor went. Was there a specific reason why he went there? He tried to lure the attention for his road trip away from BK. I wonder if he took items with him though. Read Greg McNeely's last comment. Okay. Okay, so Greg said original riddle coordinates were on the back roads from Moscow to Uniontown, Washington, going back to Pullman. Okay, so wait. They were on the back roads from Moscow to Uniontown, Washington, going back to Pullman. Then how does these coordinates, like, did somebody leave the coordinates there, Greg? Is that what you're saying? Don't use Google Maps, use USGS. Incredible. Okay, I'll have to look into this, y'all. Coordinated Universal Time, or UTC, is a standard, not a time zone. In other words, it is at the base point for all other time zones in the world, so you have to subtract -6 from Central Time, -7 from... Okay, there is a connection. But why would body cam footages have anything other than their actual local time? Like, I get there's a time zone in, or the time zone change in Indiana, but why would they not use their local time on their body cam footages? Let's see. I don't like 410 myself, so if someone wants to deep dive, I'm all ears. Okay, I gotta find Greg's thing again. Write down what he's telling me to use, so I don't forget. I may have to look more into this tonight, y'all. Yeah, I don't go to 4chan either, y'all. Hey, Maisie, how are you? I went there once. That was it. I didn't want no more 4chan. I have read stuff off of 4chan that people have posted in groups and stuff like that, but... It's 5 hours behind Eastern Standard Time, but don't know what it would be. Okay, so if it was 5 hours behind Eastern Time, that would put it... That would be like Hawaii time. I'm an hour behind Eastern Time. Hawaii's 4 hours behind me. Okay, sorry I went down that rabbit hole with Sleuthy Goose and Nerdy Attic when all this came out. It's no problem, Allie. Went there once on accident, sent it to Lost, not even realizing. Yeah, I don't do 4chan. It's not my cup of tea. All right, I'm gonna look into these coordinates. Okay, what X uses? A Crime Solver, I don't see an X. They're saying that there is an X on a tree. at these coordinates, and this is where the murder weapon and the clothes are allegedly at. And it was in part of a riddle. So I'll have to look more into it and see what's up with it. Seems like this case has had a lot of riddles to it. Like a lot of the stuff that was posted on 4chan. I don't know if it was by the same person that posted it in 4chan or if it's different people. Sounded like the same person to me just based on how they were writing. Oh, hold on. Simple Butterfly, I'll go back and get them out of the chat. But it was like they were always speaking in riddles. All right, give me a second. Let me see if I can find the coordinates. All right. Let's see. Give me just a second, y'all. Here we are. I'll grab them, repost them for Simple Butterfly. All right. Okay. Simple Butterfly, there's the coordinates that was posted in chat. We're getting Zodiac vibes, BTK vibes, Gracie vibes. He's obsessed with SKs and takes a few trademarks from each. It honestly, it's like he's taking them all and consuming something from each one of them and trying to put into himself to make one SK out of multiple ones. Yeah, Penny, that's all I seen too was just trees. And you can't do like a street view, but I'm going to do the USGS thing that Greg was telling me about. See, I sent you a link to Converter Daily in case you want to check it out. I totally thought what you did before they showed me. This is bullshit. Okay, thank you, Allie. I'll have to check it out. See, Happy Cactus, I looked but didn't see it. Okay, so Happy Cactus. Did you find the X on the tree? I went through the Maps app on my phone, not Google Earth. Were you able to see it? Yeah, like just Ann said, like an ultra copycat. Was he trying to copycat all of these? All these SKs into one crime? Like it's or was he gonna commit multiple crimes and try to be a copycat? He studied them and it was obsessed with them. Like I get reading about them and getting educated on them, but becoming obsessed with them, that's like a whole nother level. No X on the ground that I see either. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to drop the link another time. If nobody wants to join me for a little bit, then I'm going to end it. Like a sampler quilt. I don't know. I just think it's crazy how he looks like Ted Bundy. I'm sure there's some SK out there that he's read about that has committed murders the way he did. And then he brings Gacy out and by asking if anyone else was arrested. And for some reason, I don't know why I have this thought, but it's like he's more obsessed with Ted Bundy than any of the rest of them. Che, that's fine, honey. If you want to come up tomorrow night, you can. Zodiac is the puzzles and riddles. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. That is true. So there would be another one. So let's see, we got the Zodiac, we got Ted Bundy, we got John Wayne Gacy. Let's see, and can't forget the same dates as Amityville. Yes, it's literally like he did all of like he was bundling, almost like an SK bundle. That's what it seems like, and I'm pretty sure there's something to do with the dates that it happened, other than the Amityville horror. I'm sure there's something else to do with the date and the address of the house. Okay, I took a picture of the eggs. Okay, well, Happy Cactus, if you can find that X, can you send it to me? It's like he wants to become the SK of all SKs. Okay, Ed Kemper applying to the police force. Co-ed killings. Okay, but those SKs actually stayed on the run for years. BK-47, yeah, he completely failed at that part, Tad. I mean, if that's what he was trying to do, is be like all of these SKs in one, I'm pretty sure like they're probably like shaking their heads in hell right now, being like, you completely failed, son. Seriously. All right, y'all. Well, since nobody wants to come up, I'm going to go ahead and end it here so I can finish eating my egg rolls. I'm hungry. And see, where can Happy Cactus, my email is pinned to the top of the chat if you need it. And thank you. Hey, Danny Rollins, aka the Gainesville Ripper. Well, wait, little baby, Troll only cooked me 2. And I'd had to fight you over my egg rolls. That's like one of my favorites. But I'll share it with you, I guess. Moonvale, have a wonderful night. Okay, Simple Butterfly says, can't find an X. Crime Solver, you're very welcome. And thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. She was 4. Nah, I would share with you. All right, y'all. I'm getting out of here. Thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I will be back tomorrow night at my usual time. I love you all. Hope you all have a wonderful night. And I will see y'all later.